The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Right, and with that, good. I think it should be evening around Europe right now. Time zones don't go that far, everyone. Yeah, we are technically back for you. For me, it's my first time here with the EURC. That's the Challenger playoffs bracket for today. We are slowly starting the playoffs seasons for the EURC Winter season 2019, meaning we have the top 7 best teams in 2 different brackets. The Challenger bracket today showing off the top, the 4th placed team to the 7th place team, meaning place 4, 5, 6, and 7. And the winner of that bracket will advance to the champion bracket in 1 week, showing off the top 3 places and the winner of the challenger bracket, obviously. Yeah, the last place today will not get anything, but all 3 other teams will at least advance to the next season of the EURC, which at least is something if you don't advance to the champions bracket. I am Benji. I am unfortunately completely alone today. I have also, for you, unfortunately, for me not so much, the most terrible fashion sense in the world, which is why I am wearing Santa multiple times with apparently sunglasses, which I haven't noticed until now. Yeah, we have 4 different games for you today, starting off with Bern versus Delft, moving on forward to Ulu Gaming versus Fairplay Groningen, and the 6th placed match and the Challenger final at 8 and 9 p.m. respectively. Yeah, about the teams we've got in here today, just a short bit on the 4th place. That should be Bern Masters, who I can also go. No, I will not go over the rosters. I will do that for the respective games. We have on the placed 4th, we've got Bern Masters, the only team from Switzerland to advance into the Challengers playoffs, with honestly a pretty good showing last season. It's kind of a surprise that they got bumped down to the Challengers bracket. They got put off by, now I need to find the bracket there. They got put down by Padua in the last minutes, and now they are just right here down in the Challengers bracket and need to advance forward to get their shot at the champion bracket. They are somewhat favored by a lot of people just by their showing and by the fact that they should probably not be in here and belong to one of those top spots. Doesn't mean that they will get the easiest run or an easy run at all today. They will still need to face off against Ulu Gaming Groningen and Delft. Ulu Gaming, which is a competent team. They have they don't really have a constant matchup. They've got 2 players that regularly play and a 3rd player that switches ever so often, which should bring them down just a notch, not being able to get a strong, constant synergy on the field. But still, like, their overall strength is good enough that they should be able to get one of those better positions and probably at least get one of those top 3 spots to advance to the next season's EURC. They made a comeback this season, so yeah, it's like Bern, kind of surprising to see them here today, but like I said, their team overall isn't all that bad. That being said, let's go over to Groningen, who as well aren't that bad of a team. It's just that over the season, they haven't really shown their main team. They have, if I remember correctly what I've been told, they have shown one of their main players, and that player should be, now where's the roster's channel there? That player should be FaZe. Today, they at least bring back X-Cookie, which is something. They bring 2 of their 3 main players back on the field, and that should be able to give them one of the highest spots. If this will bring them the win against Bern, I don't know. But at least seeing their main team again will bring a strong win to Groningen, which should lead them to victory sooner or later. They could have probably done a lot better in this season. I don't know why they never played their main roster, but I mean, they still did good enough to end up in the Challengers playoffs. And now, well, they just need to hope for the 1 champion spot. Now, we've got a 4th challenger, technically, in the playoffs, which would be Delft. Delft, overall, isn't the team you would favor to get pretty fine here. You wouldn't favor them to at least get the 1st place. Delft, yes, again, has overall strength, but is probably they're one of the weakest teams in here. On top of that, their first game is already against Bern, which you start off as not the favorite, as probably the opposite for most people, and then you have to face the favorite of most people in the first game, which at least brings their chances to win this tournament down a whole lot. They still have a shot at this. Every team in here, like I said, has a strong overall strength and can still do it. But Delft, just by starting out against Bern, isn't looking too good. Now, speaking of Bern against Delft, that would be our first game for today. And we've got 6 players on the field, which I have not talked about yet. For Bern, we will see Mac, Wizzy, and Hal. And for Delft, we see, and I am right now apologizing for every single name I am going to butcher today. And trust me, there will be a lot, because I've seen the rosters. You might not have. For Delft, we get Marinas. Now it's a name and my terrible handwriting. Where's the rosters channel? Estokje, I'm guessing, and Savage on this side of Delft. Again, I am completely apologizing for every name that will be butchered today. It's at this point, it's not a case of if I'm going to butcher a name, it's the case of how many names I'm going to butcher. And I'm guessing out of those 6 players, it's been at least 2 or 3. So, yeah, prepare yourself for something. Anyway, this first game, like I said, Bern, top team, one of the strongest performances in this season, next to obviously the top 3 champion teams, and would have deserved their spot in the champions bracket. Against Delft, who struggled a bit to keep up. Later on, at least did a fair shot to get that 7th place, but kind of mark the drop-off in strength in teams from the top 6 to the lower half of the bracket. Like I said, they still have a fair shot, but their first game against Bern will be one of the hardest. It's, of course, the best of 7, meaning you have to win 4 games to win, which should probably give Bern more or less the upper hand, because the best of 5, technically every team has a shot at winning against nearly every team. But now, with a best of 7, this is more of a constant showing of your strength and not a, hey, we've got luck on our side for 2 games and can somehow win one other game as well. You're not going to get lucky for 4 games in a row. No. So in my head, this should be a 4-2 for Bern. Delft, again, still has a shot, but in the end, I think Bern will just be able to take it and will be able to bring this to their entrance in the grand final, which at least grants them, keep in mind, every winner of those games grants them the entry in the next season EURC. But with that being said, I don't have anything else to say. I don't need to ask anyone beside me if they've got anything to say. You will all be tortured with my voice and my torturous casting. And speaking of casting, I think be able to go if my headset doesn't decide to cut out randomly. Now, with that being said, I will give the go to the teams, and if that reaches the server... Philip, did that reach the chat on your side? Is my chat just broken? That's just great news, isn't it? I don't think I have. Do you have the chat disabled? Okay, I have disabled the text chat apparently. Now, with that being said, we should be able to go. I've got my text chat on. All players are here, and they should have read my message. And we will go on to the first game of today. We've got 4 games ahead of us, all a best of 7. Now, the first game, Bern against Delft. Bern in blue, Delft in orange. Let's see how Savage right now handles that shot by Mac. That goes through a 1-0. A terribly early start by the looks of it. Hell, just barely bumping it upwards. Mac just getting the rebound off the ground and bringing it to the goal. They had a player in the net. Well, not technically in the net, but they had one player in the corner boost. At least trying to reach it in the last second, but that kickoff definitely didn't go the way that Delft hoped it would go. Probably was a terrible gamble on that point. And, well, that ends them in a 1-0 against Bern. Bern, therefore, starting this off pretty strong. But it's still more than enough time for Delft to still get back on there. 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Savage on the ball, trying to advance further towards his enemy goal. Marinus trying to get it a bit higher. Mac on the goal. Spinning it forward. Wizzy behind, getting the shot just over the net. Hal trying to get a second one. Mac is at least advancing, but a bit too late. That ball is out of his hands, and therefore they need to somehow reposition. The ball kind of flying high. Hal is in front of that. The rebound on Mac, but Mac not able to hit it in front of Marinus. Marinus at least behind it and keeping it out of his own net. Still in a 1-0. 4 minutes still left to go. Hal trying to somehow position it in a position where his team can get behind the ball and can get a fair shot at the goal. But at the time being, that is just not possible. Now, Savage just trying to get the clear. The pass in the middle. Hal is there trying to score for once. Marinus is again between everything. And it's still this 1-0. Now the shot, Marinus is behind, the 1-1, and Delft at least being able to draw this out. Now, the first goal for Bern was just Bern being lucky with the kickoff. Delft not really expecting the kickoff to go the way it went right there. And, well, getting an open net goal, like, for example, Wizzy right here. It's not technically an open net. You've got two players right in front of there. But Savage is absolutely not expecting that ball. And his second player, I think that was Marinus, is just coming back from the kickoff. No player is in position to get that ball. And that ball just goes between two players and into a technically open net. Marinus, again, in a similar position. This time at least able to kick it out of his own net. But if that happens too often, this is what's going to end this whole series for Delft, because this just can't go. Now at 2-1, they were able to draw it out again, and then Bern just got another shot at an open net, and it's all downhill from here. Hal trying to get another shot up front, at least able to bring it in front of the net, but Marinus is between that again, able to save it. Another shot up front. Wizzy needs to try and put it to the side. Will do so successfully. Sees Hal right on the corner. Hal coming forward. The shot up. We stuck it between that. Hal at least getting the demo. 2 versus 3. The net's still not open. Savage at least hitting the ball that way that Wizzy can't do anything with it. But it's still dangerous for them, isn't it? Hal getting another shot forward. Wizzy between that. Hal and Wizzy both in their paths respectively. And up front on the net, there's complete chaos right now on the side of Bern. Which, in a moment of... well, they've lost focus right there, didn't they? They've just completely stopped speaking with each other. At least that's what it looked like. 2 players on the ball, both standing in their path respectively. And in front of the net, all 3 players just not doing what they are supposed to. Now they are able to save this somehow. But it's still 1 minute and 40 left to go. And if that happens again, Delft will be able to completely get another goal with that. Draw it out again and maybe get another goal before we get into overtime. If not, I mean, an overtime is good enough for Delft to somehow get a comeback in this game. It's still 1 minute and 20 left to go. And honestly, Delft did not get that many shots on the goal. It's 3 shots for Delft and 8 shots for Bern. That isn't enough to win a match like this. Yes, Bern wasn't able to get perfectly good shots on the goal. For example, that shot by Wizzy wasn't one of the best, but... I mean, if you get 9 shots, at some point, someone is going to clear up that goal. And right here, the goal is completely open. Wizzy, again, just finding a shot on the open net. They don't miss it, they make that in, and it's a 2-goal advantage now for Bern. Which, like, for Delft, can't feel too good. Because, yes, if your enemy team just plays it really well and outplays you in front of your net. There's nothing you could have done, and you couldn't just say, yeah, they were better than us. At this point right here, all 3 goals that Burn scored were just an open net or a misplay, a huge misplay by Delft in the defense. And that's just, on one hand, that can't feel too good, losing this game when technically your goal was somehow kind of better and not just handed to you on a silver platter. On the other hand, the good news for Delft right now is that they can learn from that. They can improve their next game because they know we've done mistakes. Now they just need to know what mistakes they've done, and they need to somehow try to, well, get rid of those mistakes so that they got a shot at winning that second match. Now we're 3-1 in this match. That will definitely not be turned for Delft. Bern is able to score that last goal, bring it to a 3-1. And, well, that take the lead in the series, meaning a 1-0 lead for Bern is, yeah, a strong start, to say the least. Bern therefore able to, well, started off pretty strong. Again, I am not the biggest fan of what happened in the offensive side of Bern. Bern, yes, had 10 shots even, on the enemy goal. Delft, on the other hand, only had 4. But, like, they did not show the best team play at all. Like, we didn't get flashy passing plays. We did not see them outplaying their enemies in a 1v2 dribbling or something. They just had an open net 3 times and scored that. Like, yes, they had so many shots and it was great to see the offense of Bern, but in the end, something was missing for Bern to somehow secure that win, to somehow push them further forward. This is honestly a game which Delft could have won if they had just brought out, at 3 points in time, a somewhat stronger defense. It's not even a terribly strong defense they had to pull out. All they had to do was pull out one player in the goal, and they could have completely salvaged this game. Which, for Bern, if they don't step up their game, might even mean a loss in this next game. Now, speaking of the next game, like I said, a 1-0 for Bern. They still need 3 wins to completely secure this. We are still currently waiting, if I've read that correctly, for Hell, who had just a crash of hopefully only Rocket League, not his old PC. Meaning this is going to be delayed by a little bit. And, well, Hell has just currently lost connections and has just now joined back, meaning we will be able to resume a 3 versus 3 like it should be. Like I said, the 1-0 for Bern. Bern, therefore, starting this off pretty strong, and they just now need to try and secure this. They need to try and continue on strong, and if they don't lose this lead, they are good, at least for another round. Which, a 2-0, yeah, just gives you the confidence you need. Now, this attack is something I want to see. That is all 3 players on the Bern side, all inside that one attack. Hell getting it once, Mac getting the rebound, and Hell just finding that ball once again for the 1-0. I somehow thought that Wizzy was near the ball. I mean, he was near the ball, yes, but he never touched it. So, yes, all 3 players isn't really that correct. Look better, yes. Now, hindsight is 20/20. Still didn't look like what we want to see. Look more like, yeah, let's just shoot at the goal a bunch of times and somehow we're going to be able to salvage that attack. And they did, yes, it's a 1-0. But it could have looked so much better. Like, for example, a pass by Mac in the middle, no, by Wizzy in the middle, and Mac just being there in position to, well, basically get that, shoot it aside the goalie, and bring out a 2-0. Not the flashiest of plays, pretty basic stuff, but it's more than enough to at least secure a 2-0. Which, right now, this is looking like a much better Bern. than what we've seen in the last game. And every negative critique I've just spoken out against Burn, I can basically take back again. Of course, it's just 1 minute in the game, but it's already showing a promising improvement in just those 60 seconds we've seen. Well, technically 70 now. Now, Marina's getting the demo on Hell. Still, that ball is going to the goal. It's Mac there, a 3-0. And honestly, I somehow want to blame Marinas for that, but in the end, no, that wasn't Marinas. I thought he was just going out of his way to the enemy goal to get that demo. No, he was just on the middle boost. They had a backflip in the goal. That's all about it. Now, rule 1 in the middle. Marinas trying to salvage what just happened, and Dell still in the goal, able to somehow save this one ball. It's still a 3-0. And I don't know how. Max somehow getting that ball to a 4-0. I don't know what just happened. I have absolutely no idea what just happened. Okay. Yeah. No. Sure was a play. We had a rule 1 in the middle. So 2 players on both sides out. Somehow Hell is able to save that goal inside his own net, inside his own goal, and still get it to a 3-0. And then the clear is just good enough for Mac to score on what is, I don't know if it's an open goal again, I don't think so, but he's somehow able to outplay the goalie to get it to this 4-0. It should never have happened this way for Delft. It still did, and now Delft somehow needs to try and find a comeback in 3 minutes. They need to score 4 goals. Now, a good rule of thumb is that as soon as you are in the lead with a 3-0 score, you are most likely to win this. Not with 3-0, but most teams that are 3-0 in the lead are the winning team at the end. Now, if 4-0 is even harder to get back, yes, they have 3 minutes to come back from this, but honestly, it's probably not going to happen because time is not on their side. Alone in just setting up this next shot alone has taken them 40 seconds. And it wasn't something where, yeah, this was really terribly hard to hold. Well, it wasn't completely setting up all those 40 seconds, of course, but we haven't seen that much else in those 40 seconds. And I hope for Delft this point is swindling in me. Maybe next game, but this game might be a bit too much now. Now, 1 minute and 40 still to go. Delft still on the ball, still trying to at least score 1 goal. To A, show that they can do it. To B, get the morals up a little bit. It's 1 minute and 30. Like I said, time isn't on their side to win. Time is on their side to score at least. Now that 1 ball, can't really look past that. That was really, really close. Still didn't go in there. 4 goals ahead. 1 minute and 10 still to go. Hull on the next attack, missing the ball completely. That wasn't what we wanted to see from Ben. Wasn't really one of those strong balls, and this could have easily gone the wrong way, but somehow Mac again is able to get beyond the ball, save it completely, and bring this to a 4-0. I don't know how they do it. I honestly don't know, but somehow they always find their way behind the ball and get it out there. Now, still a 4-0, and it's still 40 seconds. Burn somehow got a bit quieter, and while I say that, let me just disregard everything I said. Mac getting the shot from Hell in the middle, just getting right around Savage, scoring with a 5-0 lead. Now at that point, even if you heard me say a 4-0 lead might be hard to get back from. Even then, now there's 5-0. Now you somehow need to agree that a 6-0 is much harder to get back from. Even with 3 minutes still to go. They only have 30 seconds to go. This will be one of the harder matches for Delft if they are able to salvage this. Let's be honest, they will not be. Delft at this point needs to look forward to the next game because 6 goals in 30 seconds. No. What they need to do is keep the head up. They cannot disregard that they still have a strong team on their side. It is just not their game right now, because this is a 7-0 now. Now, positive things about Delft that they should be saying to themselves is that their offense was much better than in the last game. And with much better, I mean they've been out much more out of their own half. They've got, now my math skills are coming out, 7 shots on their board compared to the 4 we've just seen last match. Yes, it's not a massive improvement, but it's still an improvement. On top of that, Marinos was just able to score a goal. Yes, we've got a Brazil, and yes, I absolutely hate that. But it's a goal. It is 8 shots on the side of Delft. And that is what somehow needs to show Delft, yes, we are still in this. Yes, we can still do this. Not in this game, obviously, but there is still a, well, best of 7 with the first 2 games missing now. But there's still 5 possible matches that Delft has to win this whole series. Now, they need to be careful, because Bern is now 2 games in the lead, meaning if they win this next one, this is a match point for Bern. The pressure at that point on Delft is one of the harder things to consider, because Bern already is a strong team, and giving so much pressure to Delft, if they somehow get their hands on a 3-0 lead, on a match point in the 4th game, it's just, at that point, I just think it's too much for Delft to handle. Because that is then the amount of pressure that somehow could bring you down enough that you don't play your best game. Honestly, I don't know a lot about the psychology, that's the English word, behind the teams. I don't really know, like, how the players played. I just know how the games ended. So yes, it can be that I just completely think wrong about Delft. Delft could be one of those teams that let the server go down for maintenance. Delft could be one of those teams that just shine in the face of pressure. Delft can be one of those teams that if they are under pressure, they play miles better than before. It's just at that point, it's completely up to Delft. Now, I do get one of the harder parts. I am now in the position of casting a game I can't see while trying to reconnect. And I'm hoping it works. It does work, and there is no game behind because the players also got kicked out. That's great news, honestly. So now I've got a whole lot more time to talk to you because there's no one here and I've got nothing to say about the game. Now, strength of Bern, obviously the offense. They got out so much in the last match. They basically, the first 3 minutes of the game, they completely put Delft on their own side. Like the last 1 minute, they did the same. And those are the 4 minutes Bern were able to score a whole lot of goals. Their weaknesses on top of that is that they are a bit too aggressive. Their goal is a bit too open at some points. And if they aren't careful about that, this is going to score a lot of goals to... this is going to hand a lot of goals to Delft on a silver platter. Because, like I said, an open goal. It's, easy enough to score, isn't it? Now, is everyone here? I hope so. Yes, there is. Game number 3, the 2-0 Bern Delft. Like I said, it's not looking too strong for Delft, but it's still a long ways to go. It's 2 games that Bern still has to win, and Delft in this game is showing a bit stronger right now. Marina's at least able to get 1 strong shot on the enemy goal. Goalie just able to get that out. The goal completely open and Marinas gets it for a 1-0. That nearly went out again. Like, that is one of the weaknesses Bern has been showing this whole game. That their goal is open a bit too often, right? We've seen that at least 3 or 4 times right now. one of their strengths is that somehow, even if their goal is miles open, somehow there's always a player behind the ball, always able to get it out there. I know those two statements contradict themselves heavily, but tell me I'm wrong. Honestly, tell me I'm wrong, you can't. Now, 1-0 for Delph. Maybe you can, because that ball just went in. But there was a player behind the ball. Again. And I was about to lose it completely. Now, 1-0 for Delph. Delph now able to at least profit from a lot of mistakes Bern has been doing the last 2 games in this 3rd game. They just need to keep that score. Maybe even find another opening in the defense or offense of Bern and find another goal. Like now, Marinas getting the shot up front, hitting the goal post and bringing this to a 2-0. And Delft is completely back. And the tables have turned. Delft now up 2 scores. Bern still behind, still trying to somehow find an opening. For now, it doesn't even look like they can get close to that. They haven't shown a lot this game. They've got 1 shot. Like, if I was to tell you that one team has 5 shots and one team has 1 shot, according to the last 2 games, you would have thought I was talking about, well, Bern with 5 and Delft with 1. No, right now, it's completely the other way around, and this is great to see. Delft is coming out, and Delft is showing themselves a lot stronger than I would have ever thought they could have shown themselves according to those first 2 games that just didn't really go their way, did it? Now, they just need to somehow keep up the lead of, I was about to say 2 goals, went down to 1. Hell, getting that passing play up his front, outplaying one player, playing above the second one, and getting the 2-1. Honestly, really well played. A deserved goal for this 2-1. Delft now in a position where their lead suddenly halved. Yes, it's just 1 goal, but it is also just 1 goal that just keeps them from that troubling overtime that they do not want to find themselves in. Well, maybe they do. Anyway, Marinas definitely doesn't, because he scores the 3-1 again with a completely open goal. And I am not going to repeat myself a whole lot right now, but I've said it. Bern has trouble in their defense if their offense is going too well. And with too well, I mean, if they are able to get out a whole bunch of times, they are completely going to focus on the offense. And their defense, yeah, at that point is completely lacking. And we see that here. 3-1, definitely not the lead Bern wants to give to their enemy team. Definitely also not the lead they can't get back from. It's still 2 minutes to play. Bern has shown much more goals in 2 minutes than they need right now. Now, even if Bern gets 2 goals, this would put Delft in a position where they could still feel confident. Because while Mac is scoring that 2-3 in the back, if Bern is able to get another goal, bring this to the 3-3, and if Delft is able to keep that score for the next, let's say Bern scores in 1 minute. If Delft is able to keep that score for the next minute, then they will go to an overtime, and overtime is just 1 goal. 1 goal can come from any mistake. Right now we've seen way more goals on the side of Delft, way more mistakes on the side of Bern. An overtime in this game would probably completely benefit Delft. So even if Bern gets another goal in here and gets to the overtime, Delft, I'd say, is still in the more advantageous position. Now, this is getting a bit more troubling for Delft, because right now Delft is doing the same mistakes Bern has shown right before that. They are now under 3-3. And open net again. We've seen it 3 times in the first match on Delft's side. I think it's somehow the overwhelming, overarching theme of this whole game. The first game was nearly completely open on both sides. The second game, well, not too much. The third game, on the other hand, is completely open on both Bern's and Delft's side. Now, that goal was just a bunch of dudes shooting a goal and somehow then finding an opening. 4-3, Bern back in the lead, and now Delft is starting to fear their loss because they had a good showing. They were two goals in the lead. Now that lead is completely gone. Even worse, they are behind by 1 goal. They've got 1 minute to somehow salvage this, to somehow find the next goal. And if this goes to an overtime, like I said, 1 goal is scoreable by anyone. Even the weakest team can score a goal against the best team. Yes, it is possible. Probably not for me because I'm not even able to shoot the goal. But for everyone else, yes, you can shoot that goal. So for Delft, this isn't over. They still have a fair shot at winning this. They just need 1 more goal somehow in all of this. 4-3, 30 seconds to go. Delft now starting to get anxious because it's just 30 seconds between them and maybe being able to salvage this to an overtime. Mac now on the offense, trying to get the shot through. Wizzy right behind that. Hell with another shot, and that's again the goal completely open. We've seen all 3 blue players on the cam, and that is a whole blue line right in front of the orange line. Way too offensive on the side of Delft in their own defense, which should never happen. Now, 7 seconds left to go, 2 goals still left to score, which at this point should be something that shouldn't be doable. And with that, we get our answer. Yes, it is definitely not. Bern able to salvage it, get to a 5-3, and get the 3-0 lead in the whole series. Somewhat surprising, kinda, because Delft was showing the much better showing in there. They had, I think, 7 or 8 shots, while on the other side Bern had 1 shot, or maybe 2 at that point. They were 2 goals in the lead most of the time, and Bern was really just struggling to somehow keep up the first 3.5 minutes of this whole game. Well, they got to the drawing part of the 3-3 with 1 minute and 30 still to go. So they struggled for 3 minutes and 30 to somehow even get a shot at getting the lead. Bern really had struggles in this whole game, but at the end came back, while Delft is now on 8 shots, like we've seen in the last game. Bern right now came back with 11 shots. Keep in mind, the first 2 minutes, they maybe had 2, 3, 4 shots. Definitely nowhere near that 11. So, yeah, Bern completely came back in that game. And it's great to see that even Bern has some mistakes in there. Mistakes that other teams can try to exploit. And Delft, I think, did a good job exploiting that completely. And if Delft is able to find those mistakes again, then they still have a shot at somehow finding the reverse sweep. And it's still a long way to go though, because it's a 3-0 now. Bern is on their match point. This might be the last game we see of this first match today. And it's all down to Bern or Delft to decide that. Now, Marinas getting up front, trying to somehow save that ball out of their own net. Headshot forward, Savage right behind it. Trying to somehow get it up front, will not be... Now, what was that? I think I might have broken something. I hope not. Excuse me? Okay. Yeah. Sure, happens. Of course, happens. It's not something I was expecting to see today. It is something that can definitely happen. And it happened to Bern in a spectacular fashion. They own goal. A 1-0 now for Delft. And those are some of the mistakes I was talking about. If Delft can find those, if Delft can capitalize on those, they still have a fair shot. If the enemy team is able to score easy goals, like for example that shot on Hell, just going through, 2 players in the goal, both not able to do anything. Yeah, that lead is completely gone. Now a 1-1. They are drawing again, and if everything goes like we've seen it before 3 times already, yes, thank you, Mac, for showing that, we will see a 2-1 lead by Bern, which is what we got in the end. Wiz not hitting it completely, Mac therefore coming after it, getting the 2-1. It pains me to say, right? Because Bern does not have a bad showing at all in this, but I still feel it could be stronger. Because I still feel that most of those goals are someone shooting at the goal, completely missing, and giving the next shot to their next player. What we are seeing is not passing plays, that is backyard soccer or backyard football, if you're from the good part of the world. Now, I'm not too keen on that. I think Bern can still show something better, and I know Bern can still show something better. But right now, it's enough to secure a 3-0 lead in the series and a 3-1 lead in the game itself. So who am I to complain? I am just a know-nothing caster behind the screen. Now, 3-1 lead for Bern. Delft, again, starting to get somewhat anxious. Because not only are they 2 goals behind, with at least 2 minutes still left to go, they now need to somehow find a way to still win this, because again, the match point for Bern. If Delft still wants to have a shot at getting into the Champions bracket next week, they need to find a way to win 4 games in a row against Bern, starting with a 3-1 comeback in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Make that a 4-1 comeback with the next shot by Wizzy, and the chances of Delft to somehow win this tournament today are starting to dwindle a bit. Swindling is a completely different thing, isn't it? Yeah. Now 4-1. 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. That is about 50 seconds per goal. Still a possible thing, yes. That's more like, I'm not going to completely look at how many seconds that's per goal. My brain isn't able to handle that. Now, 4-1. And the next attack by Delft. Somehow this needs to go in. Completely missing the ball, therefore getting into the next corner. The defense now again back on the Delft side. Stock here behind the goal, behind the ball, bringing it a bit more forward, losing it against Hell right there. The shot in the middle by Savage. Marinos is behind that. Stock here trying to get it somewhat closer to the goal, but again not able to hit anything because he's completely alone there. No one is behind him to back him up, so even a pass in the middle wouldn't give him anything. So 4-1, 1 minute and 40 seconds still left to go, and it's not looking too hot for Delft. Even with that, Hell is getting the next shot in, 5-1, and we've got 1 minute and 30 still left to go. It's 4 goals that Delft somehow needs to get back. Part of me wants them to do it. Part of me wants Delft to have a fair shot at least a 5th match. But the rest of me knows that this isn't going to happen. It's at least not likely. Because 1 minute and 10 still left to go. Yeah, no. Not against Bern right now. Even if Bern has defensive deficits, this is still meh. Not something that Delft should be able to do. Especially when Wizzy gets the 6-1 5-goal lead. Yeah. Now, when I first read the name Bern, I was thinking of some clever puns, And now looking at the chat, I'm now seeing that obviously my puns weren't clever because I've been saying them since what, 2016, 2015? When was the presidential election? 16, so 2015 probably. But yeah, they've been completely ruined, so thank you for that. Marinas getting the next shot on the goal, held completely between that somehow again, keeping that goal out. And I'm just right now hoping that this is not a 7-1. I don't want a second Brazil. Thank you so much, Mike, trying to get the next shot up forward. Hell, getting between it. Wizzy getting a long shot forward to the enemy goal. That's in 7-1. And it happened, didn't it? It happened. I mean, they deserved it. They completely did. Wizzy had a good showing in that score alone. Still rather not have a 7-1 as a score. Nah. Anyway. Now, 7-1. Even if I somehow try to talk my way out of this, this is nothing that Delft is able to win, especially not at that point in time. Bern getting the ball on the ground, getting a 4-0 sweep against Delft, and Delft not able to do anything to get back at that. Delft had some strong showings in between those matches. Delft had good times, get good scores, and were able to, and that is one of the strongest properties a team can have, were able to capitalize on the mistakes their enemy team had. Near the end, it looked like Delft could somehow make a comeback, and then we got the 7-1 in the last game, where Delft as a whole was able to get 3 shots. All those 3 shots were saved by Bern. Bern itself had 13 shots on the enemy goal. 7 of those went in, and 5 of those were saved. That one last shot that wasn't saved and didn't go in, it's still out there. Still searching, never to be found again. Well, anyway, 4-0. Bern getting the sweep against Delft, advancing forward to the grand final, at least the Challengers bracket final. At that point, it is my huge pleasure to say, Bern, congratulations, you've done it. You have advanced forward to the next season of the EURC. That is the trophy you at least get to carry out of here today if you're not able to win against your competitor in the next match. Now, who might that competitor be? We will see. We don't know that yet, but it will be either Ulu. Let me find the whole names of the teams because my brain doesn't work completely. It'll be either Ulu Arctic Gaming or Fair Play Groningen. That will be our next game, our decider game, to see who will face off against Bern in the final, in the Challengers bracket final. Game number 2 right now after a, I'm guessing, production 5-minute break? After a 5-minute break, we will see you back with Ulu Arctic Gaming versus Fair Play Groningen. I'm Benji, and we'll see you back after 5 minutes.
If the kingdom is overthrown, meet me at the cornerstone. I know that I can't be without you. This bond is solid gold. We're a diamond and an emerald. It took me forever to find you. 'Cause when it's all over, the love that you give will be there to guide you in every way. Now we've been through the cold and darkest days. The summer's calling. wait for the smoke to clear, and we watch our dreams appear. I know that we can rise together. This vision that we share is ours. Together we can touch the stars. I know that we will see December. 'Cause when it's all over, the love that you give will be there to guide you in every way. Now we've been through the cold and darkest days. The summer's calling.
And with that, we are back. We've just seen Bern versus Delft, a 4-0 for Bern with, I think, 2-7-1s. The first game was 3-1, and after that a 5-3 in game 3, I think. Yes, my memory isn't that great, but I think it's about that. In the end, it's still a 4-0 for Bern. Bern therefore advancing to the grand final, or well, the challenger bracket final, let's call it that, and waiting for their next opponent in, what's it, 2 hours? They are playing at, yes, 9 p.m. my time, which would be Central European time. Meaning we still have 2 matches still to go. The match right now, match number 2, Ulu Arctic Gaming versus Groningen Fair Play, or Fair Play Groningen, however you want to say it. I will just call them Groningen and Ulu, especially because I like the game name Ulu. Yeah. And on the other hand, game number 3 will be the 6th place match, meaning Delft is now waiting for their opponent in that match at 8 p.m. my time, meaning against CET. Convert that to your own time zone. Delft is waiting for either Ulu or Groningen to catch up to them to battle it out or play it out for the 6th place. The 6th place will again advance forward to the EURC season, or the next EURC season in 2020. God, how time flies. Yes, again, Bern is already in there. The winner of this next game will also be in there. It's just then in game 6 about who makes it as well. And in game, not game 6, in the game 3. And in game 4, it's about who advances to next week's champion playoffs. But that is, like I said, in 1 week and not right now. Now, Ulu versus Groningen. I have completely butchered names before, and I will try my best to not butcher names right now, but I can only tell you, I've got the names right in front of me, and I have no clue how to pronounce them. I am an ignorant German, and I can only speak German, and I will only speak German, so excuse me for a minute while I will try to start my career as a name butcher. Now, rosters. On the side of Ulu Arctic Gaming, we've got my own handwriting is terrible. We've got, where is it? Lyshenda, I hope. Yashkotya, again, I hope. And now, part of me wants to say Gripey. Might be Grapey. Could be a whole bunch of combination of names. I'm going to have such a fun time with this. Yes, on the side of Groningen, we've got, and this is a bit more easier, Flux, X-Cookie, and Face. Now that's the team I can pronounce. Probably. I don't know about X-Cookie. I'm just hoping. Now, Lyshenda, Yashkota, and Greppy is going to be a... Greppy was the closest. I was somehow hoping that I've at least pronounced your name correctly. Okay, yes, like I said, fun time. I'm going to, at some point, find out how to pronounce his names. Maybe it's also Lysenda. Is it pronounced English or Finnish or... I'm guessing Finnish. Problem is, I can't speak Finnish. Okay, that was good too. I'm guessing that means that Lysenda was good. I hope. So, I had multiple versions of Grapey, didn't I? So, Grapey? Like, the grape, and just an I behind that. Grapey. I'm going with that. Because I've got nothing else to go with, and there's no one to correct me next to me. So, I will just be in my own little bubble, in which I am completely right. Am I right? Probably not. I'm still going with it. Like I said, I'm going to have fun. You are not. Yeah. Now, again, I should probably talk about the game while the players are not there. I'm just here for that, aren't I? Ulu Arctic Gaming versus Groningen. Ulu Arctic Gaming had a somewhat convincing performance. They at least made a comeback. They did not have the strongest start in the season. They came back later on and just snuck up behind everyone and then made their placement on the 5th spot, if I remember correctly. Well, actually, I have them sorted here. Yes, 5th spot. Groningen on the other... well, actually, Ulu never really had a constant 3rd, which is what, in my opinion, might set them back a bit against other teams. Now, against Groningen, that might not be the worst thing, because Groningen also doesn't have a constant 3rd. Well, technically they do have a constant 3rd, but they never really played with their main team. As far as I know, FaZe was always on the field for Groningen, but they basically brought out the rest of their B team, or stand-in team, to play the whole season, meaning Groningen, while having a strong main team, never really showed their main team. Today, we are at least seeing with, and I hope I'm saying that correctly, Face and X Cookie, I'm thinking that those are the two in the main team. I am sorry, Flux, if you are. We are seeing two of the three main team players, which might again give Groningen somewhat an upper hand because now they at least bring out one of their stronger players next to Face and try to push their way forward. On the other hand, well, they as well don't go in with their three best players like Ulu isn't, because Ulu never really had a constant third, meaning they can't really have three constantly good playing players on the field. Groningen, on the other hand, really is still lacking that third main team player and is going in with a third stand-in, which on both ends would be normally a disadvantage. Now seeing that both teams are doing it, it might still be, well, next to nothing, or it might decide next to nothing. It'll be interesting to see at the end. I'm somewhat thinking that Groningen, with having the stronger main team and at least bringing out two of the main team, might be able to get the upper hand against Ulu. I am thinking Groningen will win this game today with a 4-2, 4-3 against Ulu. And, well, Ulu then needs to go in the game against the 6th place, or for the 6th place, and Groningen will try to win their way to the champions bracket. Still, this is an open book, still waiting to be written. So I'm saying to our 6 authors, I'm ready, you can go. And with that, we are off. Game number 2, I can count to 2. Groningen versus Ulu Arctic Gaming. I am interested to see how this goes. It'll be an interesting one if it's only for the names. Now, shot going out. Gripey trying to somehow secure an early on goal, but X-Cookie getting this shot forward, missing it completely. Flux in position, but not able to get the answer on that shot by X-Cookie because X-Cookie just missing that ball so close in front of the net. That could have been an early first goal for Groningen. Groningen now going out empty. Kotja just behind the ball, able to save it a bit more. Grapey again with a long shot. Now they need the clear. X-Cookie bringing it down. Face trying to somehow score it forward. There's Kotja with another shot forward while still staying behind. Their goal not open. Grapey is in there, just able to secure that ball. But Groningen is still on the attack, and we haven't seen that many attacks on the side of Ulu Arctic Gaming. They don't even have one single shot. Well, mind you, it's 1 minute in, but Groningen at this point already has 3. There wasn't really one strong attack or one attack at all on the side of Ulu Arctic Gaming. Now Flux trying to get another one down. X-Cookie right behind him, missing as well. Somehow this ball is still out in the open and not in, while the net on Ulu Arctic Gaming's side was basically completely open. Still no ball in. X-Cookie with another shot forward. Face waiting right behind him. Flux on the open, on the down low, now going backwards, at least holding that ball out of their own net. Trying to keep this 0-0 score for as long as possible, at least not falling back to a 0-1 deficit, to an 0-1 loss. They need to try to get the lead as fast as possible. Now, Grapey with their next attack. Have they even gotten one shot? No, at this point, it's basically a stalemate between both teams because while, yes, Ulu Arctic Gaming wasn't able to get one shot on the goal, Groningen was only able to get one shot in this whole time. Basically a 1 minute time span between now and the last time I've talked about shots. So this whole minute, really nothing happened. And both teams at this point are just feeling their way forward, looking if they can somehow make a play against their enemy team. For now, not so much. Both of them sitting a bit further back, trying to still get the feel for this game. And, well, like I said, nothing really happens out of the ordinary. Both teams with a strong defense, both teams with a at least present offense. Now, Face getting the first shot. That is not the first shot because we're now speaking for Groningen again. Ulu is still on 0 shots on the net. And yes, I'm saying that a lot, but in 2 minutes, this game will be a full time. If it's not going to an overtime, if you don't have a single shot on the net, you do not have a shot at winning this. And that is something that Ulu Arctic Gaming now needs to look at, because this cannot stand for any longer. Now on the side of Groningen, we're up to 5 shots. Again, not a massive improvement. But compared to what we've seen on the side of Ulu Arctic Gaming, it's multiples, miles above, well, 0 shots. Now, Flux trying to make his way forwards. Getting help by FaZe. X-Cookie in their face with the demo, the 1-0. And like I said, if you do not even shoot one ball near the net, you are going to fall behind at some point. And it's at that point where that one demo in the goal gives them the shot to bring this to a 1-0. And this might be the goal that decides this whole first game. Because like I said, we haven't seen all that much in this first game. It's basically both teams trying to get a feel for each other. And that 1-0, that might just stand for a long time. And that is definitely not something that Groningen wants to, that Ulu Arctic Gaming wants to keep there for a whole lot. Now, FaZe with the next attack, bringing the ball down to Flux. Flux not able to get past. I am still not sure how to pronounce him, but I'm going with Jaskotja. Still a 1-0. Now, next shot forward. 40 seconds left to go. Flux in the net, trying to get behind it. Lysander with the shot up front. Jaskotja bringing it down a bit more. Lysander on the net, bringing it to the side. The shot to the goal. It just barely misses the goalpost. And with that, the 1-0 is still standing. And at least they've gotten their first 2 shots on the goal. It's an awful lot too late, if you ask me at that point. But it shows that they can get out there, at least. Still, there's something missing, because it wasn't the best showing of Ulu Arctic Gaming in this first match. But keep in mind, it's a best of 7. Ulu Arctic Gaming has a lot of time to still try and get back there, still try and make their rounds to win at least games against Groningen, or at least, well, let's start small, score against Groningen. But I'm thinking in probably at least the next half game, we should see Ulu starting to come out a bit more, starting to get a bit more adventurous on the field, so to speak. Because, well, at the end of this game, we've seen 3 shots, which might not seem like a lot, but considering that the first 4 minutes we've seen nothing, 3 shots is a massive improvement. So again, this is basically the normal first game we always see. Teams trying to get a feel for each other, trying to see what I can do, what I can't do. If I have to be a bit more careful out in the open, or if I can just try to go a bit further than the middle line. If I can try to be a bit more aggressive than staying in my own net, which obviously you shouldn't do. And yeah, this first game for Ulu didn't go as well on the side of Groningen. Also not the best performing game. They still won it. Yes, they are 1-0 in the lead, but there is a lot that can still be done on both sides. Now, I'm thinking in about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, we are going to see a massive jump in improvements on both sides, because not only did they get a minute to speak to each other, to know what they need to do in this next game, but they are also warmed up. They know how their opponent operates. They know how they should answer to basically anything that their opponent throws their way. Now this is the time for one of the 2 teams to shine. Question right now is if it's Ulu or if it's Groningen. Right now we are seeing a bit more shots on the side of Ulu. Groningen a bit further down their net, trying to just get out of their own half. Still not able to do it. Now this clear by Flux might just do it. Brings them out to the enemy's... What's that thing in English? The box in front of the goal. I absolutely don't know. I'm not a soccer fan, am I? Now, 4 minutes left. And Ulu at least able to get some more shots out. Ulu is really showing them a lot in this first 1 minute we've seen. Definitely more than they've shown themselves in the last game. They already have 2 shots, which is nearly what they had in 5 minutes last time. Now, shot forward by X-Cookie. Somehow that is not in. FaZe getting another shot upwards. Flux is right behind that, still not able to get it in there. Yes, Kotya bringing it outwards. FaZe with another shot up front, getting to the corner. Ascender bringing it to the side. X-Cookie with another shot up forward to the net. 1-0. X-Cookie doing it on his own, scoring for that first goal. Now, Grappy was still in the net, was still trying to react to it, but X-Cookie at that point outplayed 2 of his teammates, and it is only what X-Cookie does to outplay the third one as well. That is 3 players all not able to somehow get behind or in front of X-Cookie. That 1-0 will stand for a long, long time if this doesn't change. Now, my brain has now decided to tell me that the box in front of the goal is, if I remember correctly, the penalty box. Might not be, it might be, I don't know. Looks a bit more like the one in basketball on this field, to be honest. Now, the next attack, FaZe bringing it down. X-Cookie should be behind there somewhere, but no, it's Flux coming forward, getting the 2-0. And X-Cookie was the player who brought that ball to FaZe. FaZe just bringing it down, and then there's Flux just waiting for exactly what he's gotten for the 2-0, giving them a 2-goal lead. And different from what I expected to see, I saw a second goal. And yeah, at that point, this doesn't bode too well for Ulu, doesn't it? Because now, I was about to say, at 2 minutes and 30, we are going to see one of the 2 teams shine. And it is Groningen at this point. Ulu, yes, is able to outshine their ability of the last game. They've got 4 shots now. Groningen, on the other hand, has 3 goals. Ulu right now getting a bit further in the offensive areas. They are a bit further out of their own half. They bring the ball to the enemy side. They aren't always successful to get a shot on the net because, well, there's still a bit of team play missing on their side. But at least they get out there. Now, the problem they have at that point is something we've seen with Bern and Delft in the last game. Because while their offense is now doing stuff, their defense is, well, technically nowhere to be seen. Because their goal is more often than not wide open. And that just can't stand. Because on the other side, Groningen is a fast reacting team. And if they see your net open, they are going to get a long clear. They are going to have a player right behind that to answer with that long clear and get a score without you even being able to react. Now, on the other hand, Groningen nearly had a score on their own goal. Lysander getting that ball really close to the goal. And while 2 players were in the goal, none of them were able to react there. Groningen at this point is completely lucky that Lysander missed by a millimeter and that ball didn't go in. Now, 3-0. And Groningen still up top. 1 minute left to go. If Ulu Arctic Gaming is somehow able to shine in this last minute, and it's something I have definitely seen before, it's something I don't expect Ulu Arctic Gaming to do, mind you, they are still able to win this. But if X-Cookie comes in, gets a 4-0, at that point I'm thinking this might be over. It is still 10 seconds per goal that Ulu Arctic Gaming now has time for. But it's also just 10 seconds per goal. A kickoff in general takes about 5 seconds to completely wear out and to completely transition into normal gameplay. And at that point it was even 10 seconds. And yeah, this is just not the position Ulu Arctic Gaming wants to find themselves in. I'm thinking this, yeah, at this point isn't able to be somehow safe. 10 seconds left, 4 goals need to be shot. Flux getting one shot forward, but that's not in. X-Cookie trying for another time. Again, not in. It doesn't even matter, even if Groningen would have hit that. It's a goal for Groningen, bringing this to a 5-0, but it's not. It's no goal for no one. It's a 4-0 for Groningen in the end, still bringing the total score in this series to a 2-0. Groningen finding 2 games in a row, all with nearly no setbacks by Oulu Arctic Gaming, and with no setbacks by Oulu Arctic Gaming. The first game was a 1-0 with no goals, and right now a 4-0 again, no goals by Oulu Arctic Gaming. So yeah, there wasn't really much that Oulu Arctic Gaming was able to do to set Groningen back a bit, and this on the long run can't stand. They need to somehow find a way to play around their enemy team, or their opponent. They need to find a way to capitalize off the few shots they are able to make. In this game, 14 shots on Groningen side, 6 shots on Oulu's side. That's more than double the shots, and Oulu Arctic Gaming doesn't get a lot of shots. At least that's what we've seen the last 2 games. And if they don't, they need to try to make every shot they get count. They need to set quality over quantity. If you don't get a lot of shots, make them strong. And if they are able to do that, and that is a massive if, because from what I've seen so far, I'm still looking for that little bit of team play that would set one of those teams apart, that would give one of those teams the possibility to score that much needed goal. Yeah, for the time being, I'm not thinking that this is going to happen. Now, game number 3. An 0-0 again. A draw on both sides. We are setting the ground flat again. Both teams have a fair shot at winning this. Groningen 2 games in front. If they can take this next game, they are again on a match point, and again putting so much pressure on Oulu Arctic Gaming. Oulu Arctic Gaming now needs to somehow find their way back. Now a shot forward by Sender, trying to make his way up front. Still not able to do it. Face bringing the ball down towards the enemy goal. Is a bit too fast in that. His team might be in position, but the ball isn't. And with that, the 0-0 still stands. Face right behind the ball. Lysander bringing up forward to the corner. Flux in position. Bring it more down. Skotja in the next aggression. X-Cookie bringing a bit more forwards. But again, we are kind of stalling in the middle right here. Now another attack on the side of Oulu. Still nowhere near the goal. A good shot in the middle. Lysander trying to profit from that. Is a bit too late in there. Flux with a clear. X-Cookie in front of the enemy net. Able to profit off that pass to the goal and making it a 1-0. And it's what I've said before. If your goal is nearly open, and in that case it was one player in your own goal. If your goal is that open, Groningen is going to see that. Groningen is going to send out a player who's in the middle waiting for a long clear. At that point, Flux is going to get that clear, like he did, and either hit the goal, or score the goal, or just place it somewhere in the general area of the goal, which at that point was what he did. It was not in the goal, yes, but it was somewhat around it. And, well, that's more than enough. That is all Groningen needed. Now, the 1-0 lead for Groningen. Oulu Arctic Gaming hasn't shown any goals in the last 2 matches. And we're still waiting for the first goal in the 3rd match. Now, I'm not someone who would like to see 3 matches with no goals on one of the team's side. So I'm still hoping And I'm still thinking that Ulu Arctic Gaming is going to be able to find at least one goal in this game. But right now, it needs to be more than that. 2-0 lead for Groningen. Ulu needs to find 2 goals to somehow still bring this to an overtime. And, well, it's looking a bit bleak, to say the least. Now, Grapey trying to bring the ball forward a little bit more. The ball right now in front of Face. Face shooting it forward. Jakarta might still be there, but he's a bit too late. And with that long clear by Flux, Face waiting in the middle for that. That is a 3-0 in the exact fashion I've just described. If your goal is completely open, Groningen is going to see that. Groningen is going to clear, and Groningen is going to have a player ready, waiting for that clear to score that goal. It's exactly like I said it's going to happen, and this brings Groningen to a 3-0 lead. Ulu Arctic Gaming 2-0 behind in the series, 3-0 behind in this game. If they lose, they are 3-0 behind a match point on the side of Groningen, which is something they desperately need to avoid. Still, Face is there, and they need to face the truth. A 4-0 on the side of Groningen will be next to impossible for Ulu at this point to come back to, because we've not seen enough on Groningen's side to really show us that they are able to get back from that. We haven't seen a single goal. We are still waiting. Technically 14 minutes in the series. Still waiting for that one goal from Ulu Arctic Gaming. And, well, I was about to say shots might be there, but goals aren't. But no, Ulu Arctic Gaming is showing the same signs they've been showing in the first game. We are 4 minutes. I think it's even worse than the first game, because we are 4 minutes in right now, and we don't even have one single shot on the side of Ulu. Face, on the other hand, is getting another shot on the goal, and that's hitting 5-0. A next to impossible to get back lead on the side of Groningen. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Ulu still has it in him, because, well, it's a 3-0 lead at that point, nearly safe in the series. Now, Grapey at least trying to get that one extra goal. Flux immediately taking the ball off his head, trying to get another shot on the enemy goal, waiting for Face to put it in the middle. Lysander in the next attack, at least able to stop the ball a bit. Jaskotaya with another shot up front. Grapey a bit too fast on the attack, flying completely under the ball. At least the demo against X-Cookie is in there, meaning that, well, Groningen is now down to one player, but even then, they are just waiting for X-Cookie to get back. That is a long clear to the front. Flux shooting it in the middle, and somehow X-Cookie isn't able to get that in. Still a 5-0 with the next 5 seconds to go. Is not even next to impossible, but completely impossible to catch up on. X-Cookie is bringing that shot down, and Groningen will be able to get this game finished. A 6-0 in a 5-0 in this game. I don't know how much in the whole series is something for Ulu Arctic Gaming to chew on. Because Ulu Arctic Gaming was not only not able to get a single goal, which, yes, happens, of course. In this game, they weren't even able to get a shot. Ulu Arctic Gaming is right now struggling with both their offense and their defense, and that is something that I can't really stand. Ulu Arctic Gaming isn't that bad. Obviously, they are one of the stronger teams, but right now I think Groningen, with the addition of I think it was X-Cookie, who is just put in there in this game, is a bit stronger than what Ulu Arctic Gaming might have expected to begin with. And that is something that Ulu right now can't deal with. Now, I'm still waiting for that next goal by Ulu, and I'm still thinking that Ulu has a shot at winning this. Right now, it's just going to be infinitely harder, because not only is the sheer pressure of not even being able to get that first goal in 3 matches on your backs, right now, Groningen is 3-0 in the lead. They need 4 matches to win. If you can do the math better than I can, you will instantly notice that this is a match point for Groningen. And, well, at that point, this is going to be an immense amount of pressure on the backs of Ulu Arctic Gaming. And I don't really think that they will be able to, well, in general, bring this whole game home. But let's still see. Maybe for some reason, the gods are smiling upon our Finns, and maybe they are able to somehow get a reverse sweep in this. Might be one of the hardest things they've ever done, but they are starting it strong. Just caught Dyer, getting the first demo against FaZe, another shot on the goal. Somehow X-Cookie is just waiting in there for that ball to hit him, and it does hit him, so the 0-0 still stands. Now another shot forward, FaZe getting behind it, trying to shoot it to the goal. X-Cookie centering that, Flux still waiting in the middle for another shot at that. Flux to X-Cookie, Grapey is in between that. At least able to find that clear, meaning right now they are able to set a bit further back, they are able to attack a bit more, but we are still looking for those strong and, well, we're still waiting for shots that make Groningen completely, I don't know, I'm still waiting for shots at all. I'm waiting for goals, I'm waiting for something. And I'm not getting a whole lot. Now, Groningen in the next attack, the pass in the middle, X-Cookie taking that, trying to get it to the next side. FaZe not able to get behind that, meaning that ball now in the hands of Ulu Arctic Gaming. Ulu with the next attack, Grapey going a bit further, trying to bring it to the middle. X-Cookie in position as Kotaya shooting to the side. Flux with a long ball to the enemy net. Flux at least able to stop that. Grapey to X-Cookie. X-Cookie trying to somehow find his team, but his team is completely on the way back to their own net and not able to get somewhere close to that ball to try and attack the ball, to try and attack it all. So, no, still nearly 3 minutes in. There's Godaya with the next attack. Cinder behind that. Still not able to do a whole lot in there. Grapey right behind. Flux now with the ball, trying to somehow make his way around X-Cookie. X-Cookie now in the goal, bringing it forward. Going up high, Flux in position with another shot. That is coming fast, and it's in FaZe, finding that shot with a 1-0. I'm still not sure how he did it, but that's in. That is definitely in. And while they, on the side of Ulu Arctic Gaming, still had 2 players near the goal, none of them were prepared for that shot, that fast, that precise on the side of FaZe. Now FaZe is completely happy with that. A 1-0 lead might be enough for Groningen to get this whole game going, to get this whole game over with. And honestly, the way the last games are going, I'm still thinking that it might just be enough. Because I'm still waiting. I am still waiting. 1 minute and 30 left to go. Flux bringing to the net. Flux is between there, 2-0. And the lead further for Groningen. At this point, what do you do? What do you do if you are Ulu Arctic Gaming? Nothing you try really works. You get blocked really far, even before you can reach the enemy goal. Yeah, at this point, what do you do? Because there's not a whole lot you can do, because you've tried nearly everything. At some point, Groningen just scores their first goal, and Ulu Arctic Gaming just completely breaks. Because right now we are seeing one goal after another. And, well, feeling a bit sentimental for Ulu right now. Because while they are a great team, while they are a good team, right now nothing is working. And feels like something where Ulu somehow... they've been broken, is what I'm thinking right now, because this is really not looking like what we've seen the last 3 games. And all those spot goals in basically a minute or a minute or a half is really not what I was expecting from the whole match at all. Now Flux on the next attack, trying to get the ball a bit further in the enemy net. Still not able to do it. Still keeping that 4-0 in. That is still more than enough for Groningen. Now the next attack, X-Cookie centering it in. Should have known that there's no one on his of his side really near him to take that. I think he was trying to somehow give it towards the net. Now his second chance will be immediately countered by Skotja. He's now on the attack with his own team. Flux right there, trying to somehow stop that. Face on the way back, brings it up top. X-Cookie is in position. Now that ball might be a bit more dangerous, but it's still not in. Face with another shot up front. Flux is right behind that. Jazz. Do you like Jazz? Still not able to make anything with that ball. Lysander bringing it up forward. And Grapey is right behind. That ball is going really dangerous, but no, it's just on the bar, and Groningen is able to secure this win, bring it to a 4-0. And with that, it's not only a 4-0 in the game, it is a 4-0 in the series. Groningen with a really strong showing on their own side. And like I said, Ulu tried. And it wasn't really the worst showing you could have seen from Ulu. But there was just something that didn't work. Maybe it's just not their day. Could have been the one. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the mentality of the players. I don't know how the players operate. I don't know how they normally are like. So could have been a whole bunch of things that I can't answer for. Now, what stands is definitely that Groningen will advance to the final against Bern. Bern is still waiting, and I'm thinking that Bern looked a bit stronger against Delft. But, well, what Bern and Groningen are going to do in the grand final is still a mystery to anyone, because that is just in an hour. What we are going to see after a 5-minute break is Ulu Arctic Gaming versus Delft, the place for our 6th place, because both teams still, or all 4 teams still have to play once. If Ulu Arctic Gaming or Delft are able to win this, they will secure their position in, or their place, their slot in next season's EURC. Bern and Groningen have their place, their slot safe. They've got it. They are one of the top 6 players. And, well, with that, yeah, I am again able to say congratulations, Groningen. You've done it. You definitely will advance forward in the season number 3? In the summer season of the EURC, I think. No, not really the summer season, winter season, right? Yeah, I remember winter season, because it's cold outside. Cold was winter. So yeah, with that being said, I now notice that I can't talk at all, so I am going to go in a quick 5-minute break, and we are going to be right back with Ulu Arctic Gaming versus Delft, the game for the 6th place. we are back, and let me quickly switch to English and not German. We've just seen Bern versus Delft in the first game, the 4-0 for Bern. Then we've seen Ulu Arctic Gaming versus Groningen, the 4-0 for Groningen. Now we are going to go into our game, or our match for the 6th place. Delft versus Ulu Arctic Gaming. Both did not really have the greatest showing on the field. Ulu Arctic Gaming had a defense that was there, did the best they could on the offensive side. They just really never got into the enemy net. They never really profited out of anything. They had 4 games with no goal, which is still hurting from inside my heart. Delft, on the other hand, had the offense, but no defense. Bern was able to capitalize on so many open nets on the side of Delft that I wasn't really sure that on both sides there was really anyone playing defense, which wasn't really looking like one of the most defensive games. It was still a strong showing for Bern. They still did a good job showing Delft how they can play. I'm still thinking Bern can play a lot better, and I'm still thinking Delft can play a lot better. Delft will have a huge problem in there because Ulu Arctic Gaming didn't really have that many open nets. And Delft's most scored goal in the last game was basically an open goal. And well, yeah, Bern made that kind of easy. Like I said, I can't blame them. They were basically handed a completely offensive game style on a silver platter by Delft. Delft just allowed anything that Bern did. And obviously, you getting a bit of wind in your sails, and with that, you are sailing a bit too fast and suddenly landing on shore. And Bern did that. Bern landed on shore, and while they were trying to push their boat back in, Delft was just able to score a goal, open net, and yeah, that probably won't happen by Ulu, because I was not that put off by Ulu's defensive play. Their offense was still something to look out for, but their defense was holding strong, was at least there to hold enemy shots. While, if Delft is doing the same thing, let's just put what Ulu just did against Groningen in the game that Delft just showed us against Bern. If Ulu shows the same showing they did against Groningen, then it is never open. Delft might not be able to pass that defense. Might be able to, yes, but might not be able to that easily. Delft, on the other hand, had the same problem Bern had, in that they got a bit too risky, got a bit too far outward, and then the goal was just completely open. That is something that Ulu desperately wants to see. If they see that and if they can score that, I'm thinking that this might be a game more on the side of Ulu. Just out of the mistakes we've seen from the last 2 games, I'm thinking if we see the same mistakes again, that should probably give Ulu the upper hand in this game. Probably, because I don't know if we're going to see the same mistakes again. Might just be that Delft was really playing it a bit too fast because they were trying to play like Bern was, and Bern was playing it a bit too fast. I don't know. But while talking about the teams, we can also talk about the players. We've got on the side of Delft, again, Marinus. And now I think I'm pronouncing this correctly. I think it's pronounced Eistokje, or Eistokje, probably Eistokje, which I've translated that in Google Translator, and I think that loosely translated means ice cream stick. According to Google Translate, I am not going to correct them because there's a much better word to use there, but I'm going with ice cream stick. But yeah, Eistokje and Savage. I think, is the third name for Ulu Arctic Gaming. I'm still going to butcher every single name I am going to find. That is, my terrible handwriting aside, Lysander, Yaskotaya, and Grapey. Probably Grapey. I'm thinking it's Grapey. It might be Grapey, it might not be. Yeah. 3 players. We are still waiting a bit more to start this because we are trying to give a bit of a break for Ulu, who just had the 4 games against Groningen, while Delft had a bit more of a break, which on one hand, if Ulu does not have the huge, or isn't that, my English is just running away, enduring, then playing 4 games after you've just played 4 games might be a disadvantage. On the other hand, Delft just had a 4-game break, and basically, and they should be cold. So this first game will be somewhat a bit more of a warm-up for Delft than it will be for Ulu, which could also be a good thing for Ulu. I don't know. This can still be for both. It can still be advantageous for both teams. But before I talk myself to death because I can't talk, we are going to start our game number 1, 2, 3. Ulu Arctic Gaming versus Delft, the game for the 6th place. The winner gets into the EURC in the next season. The loser, well, I'm sorry to say, gets nothing. Now, game number 4, I am expecting a bit more of a showing from both teams. Both didn't really get a chance to show themselves. Now, this is their go. Now, Lysander still on the down low, trying to hold up a bit further. Grapey right behind, getting the ball a bit further forwards. Escotaya right behind there. Lysander somehow still on their own side, able to hold that ball and still holding it at 0-0. Another shot up forward, still no one in there. Wait, isn't it 0-0? 0-all? I don't know. English is weird, too weird for me to speak. Now, Lysander up front. Escotaya still behind there. I stock here up forward, bringing the ball to the net, but still a bit too high. This could have been his shot, but no one on the side of Delft is right behind him. So no one is able to secure that goal, which would have been promising and a promising start for Delft. Still, this is a goalless game for both for now. Lysander trying to bring the ball a bit more forward. I stock here right between that. And we are still waiting for that first goal. But what we are seeing is that Ulu Arctic Gaming is a bit more on the forward-facing front, because they are getting much more out there. And with that goal by Yaskotaya, that is Yaskotaya, that is definitely showing that this is true. Ulu Arctic Gaming isn't holding back anymore. Ulu Arctic Gaming isn't pushed back to their own side, or let's say forced to hold back. They are coming forward. They are trying to score against their team, and they are right now successful. 1-0, 3 minutes and 20 still left to go, meaning there's still more than enough time for Delft to find an answer for that 1-0. For now, this is just waiting. 4 shots on the side of Ulu Arctic Gaming, 2 on the side of Delft. Not the biggest showing on both sides, but it is for now for Ulu Arctic Gaming something that is definitely more than enough. I stock here, bringing the ball forward. Marina's right behind them, missing, and that goal would have been completely open, but Marinas misses that ball, meaning they can't profit from that. Now, set a bit further back. Marinas with another shot, trying to get around Lysander. Not able to do that. Another shot up front to at least keep them on the offensive side. I stock here, missing the ball right here. Not able to put it a bit more dangerous against their enemy. And where's Severage and all that? Severage in the middle, just waiting, playing the defensive side. Which is something I don't really expected or wanted to see, because that completely messes up with their rotation. While one player is trying to set up the ball, the other player is right behind that. But what happens if that first player misses? Then you have to wait for the first player to get right around the field again, to get into position, to be in the position of the number 2, while the number 3, in that case, Savage, just stays the number 3 for the whole time and waits for the ball to come flying towards him so that he can go in the defensive. I'm waiting for Savage to get into the rotation play, to start showing himself on the field, because if he does that, like the rotation we've seen on the 2 players that play with the rotation, that works completely. If they put all 3 players into it, this might still be a possible thing. Right now, Savage, for example, a bit further forward. I stuck here trying to get the ball around Yaskotaya. It's not able to do so. Marinas at least getting the demo, so Yaskotaya is out there, but the ball's still against their own goal. Gripey getting the shot, missing an open net! Oh, you hate to see it, but you do see it. And we forced you to see it, because that net was open, and the ball is still not in, but it's still a 2-0 lead for Ulu Arctic Gaming, and that for now is still more than enough. 1 minute still left to go. Both teams still trying to somehow score against their opponent, and both teams for now not too successful with that. Yaskotaya bring the ball a bit more forward, sending it to the middle. Lysander on the way back. Savage with the next attack. Lysander at least between that. I stalk you with a pinch up forward. Savage right behind that, but in a bad position to somehow attack that. Now 2-0. Still 30 seconds left to go. Savage on the attack, 2 players on the net, and the offending player missing. And now I am offended that that ball is still not in. Delft, with huge chances, not hitting the ball, is completely ruining their first match. And that 2-0 will still be standing to this point in time. The last 10 seconds, and at that point, I don't think Delft can find the 2 scores they need to get. 1 maybe, 2 at this point seems impossible. Gripey with the ball right on him, brings it up a bit higher, sends it to Lysander, and Lysander just sends it up forward to the enemy net. Oh, that's it. The ball is held out of the net onto the ground. Ulu Arctic Gaming holding the 1-0 with a 2-0 scoring match. Now that's 10 shots on the side of Ulu Arctic Gaming, 8 shots on the side of Delft, and this is what a game like between those, well, 2 teams actually could and should look like. Except I'm waiting for a bit more scores on the side of Delft, but shot-wise, yes, this is a good game. We've seen basically what both teams are good in. Ulu Arctic Gaming can get a bit more aggressive, and if they do, this is going to be a hard game for you to win. But they can also show a strong showing in the defense. 6 saves from the 8 shots we've seen on the side of Delft is definitely one of those quotas you do want to deal with if you are on the defending side. So Ulu Arctic Gaming, both defensive and offensive strong. It's not like I can't say the same thing for Delft, but they only, in air quotes, held 5 of the 12, I think it was, shots on the side of Ulu Arctic Gaming, which isn't terrible, but it's definitely not that high of a quota or percentage that Ulu Arctic Gaming had on their defensive side. Mind you, they also got a lot more shots on their goal and a lot more shots went in, so obviously they are going to have a bit weaker of a defensive on that side. Now, game number 2, starting off really strong. Yaskotaya immediately getting the first goal. The pass from Lysander, just waiting on the enemy side for that ball to arrive, and that's the 1-0. Now, Lysander with the next attack. Bring the ball downwards. 2 players missing. Stockje is at least behind there with the next attack. Yaskotaya trying to hold it off their own goal for the time being. Lysander missing for now, meaning they need to somehow make their way around to get behind the ball. Gripey is trying to set up right now. Savage at least behind that, holding a bit further. Lysander again just trying to attack and just trying to set up a ball that his team can attack on, and it's Grapey who's going to take that ball and score the 2-0. Now Lysander just sending it to the front and Grapey just waiting there and getting the shot on not the open net, but a net that is open enough for a ball to fit through. Now, a 2-0 is definitely the start Ulu Arctic Gaming is hoping for, and they are getting that start. And it's still just 50 seconds in, meaning both teams still have a shot at winning this. But Ulu Arctic Gaming has the better chances at this point. Not only do they have the stronger showings over at least the first minute of the game. You can't see it, but if I press tab, I'm just seeing a 1 on Savage's saves. Every other number is 0, except for scores and pings, obviously. Which isn't the strongest start for Delft, but it's still just 1 minute in. So there's still a lot to be doing. Now, Lysander waiting for that ball to come forward by Laskotaya. Lysander now on the back and a double commit on the side of Ulu Arctic Gaming. This is what Delft normally is profiting from, because that goal was just completely open. But their ball was still hit enough that no one on the side of Delft was able to get it in front of their enemy net. Meaning that 2-0 still stands to this point. 3 minutes left to go. Lysander still on the attack, trying to get a ball somewhat further. Marina's not able to win that 1v1. Lysander with the next attack. One player bumped in by Laskotaya. It is Istokya. That ball is still not in. Grapey with another try, but Severage is between and holding that ball off, and it's still a 2-0. 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. And the attacks are just coming in on the orange goal, and that is a huge problem for Delft. Delft needs to find a way to turn this around, and this clear might just be it. Lysander now in the defensive, at least holding that one ball, but it's still an attack on the side of Delft. Delft immediately missing that ball. Istokya on the next attack, still not able to bring it through. This 2-0 is still waiting to be changed, or waiting to be further expanded on, depending on how it goes. 2 minutes left to go. Marinas shooting it to the middle, hoping that somehow his team is going to be there for him, somehow his team is going to be able to answer that. Well, the answer is he's getting is no, we are not able to do that, because that ball is immediately falling into the hands of Ulu Arctic Gaming. Ulu Arctic Gaming, therefore, in the next attack. Marina's just waiting on the ball so that Istokya can prepare his next clear. That clear is immediately answered with another attack by Jess Kotaya. And if Severage wouldn't have been there, that would have been a goal. But that will be saved. Lysander with another try, but even there Istokya is between that. That 2-0 is still holding up. Lysander with another try, setting it to the corner. From there, there's still not much they can do. Now to the middle. Laskotaya right there in position. Bring it to Marinas. Marinas up front. Over the top, Grapey in position. Savage over to Lysander. Lysander bring it dangerously close to the enemy goal, but there's still nothing they can do. 1 minute still on the clock, and well, Ulu Arctic Gaming, yes, aren't able to score a whole lot in this game, but the 2-0 the 2-0 lead they've got is still more than enough for them to profit on that. Still more than enough to, well, basically score that win. But Marinas is still there. This isn't something you can just do without Marinas. Marinas at least able to score one goal, bring it to a 2-1. Now this gets interesting. Delft was able to find a mistake on the side of Ulu Arctic Gaming, was able to profit from that mistake, and if they can do it again, this will still go to an overtime. It's a 2-1 right now. And both teams are still able to find a winner here. Istokya with the next attack, bringing up forwards. Just Kotaya is between them. Up to the front, shooting it over the corner. Lysander in position, not able to hit it towards the net. Grapey with another shot forward, and still not able to find his way around the enemy defense. That's just Kotaya again with another shot up front. It really doesn't matter at this point if EUR Arctic Gaming scores or not, because they've got the lead, the time is on their side, and even if they don't make it, every single attack is going to end up with less time on the side of Delft, and they already didn't have enough, a lot of time in there to win this. Now, the 2-1 in this next game will mean that EUR Arctic Gaming is able to bring this to a 2-0 in the series. There's still 2 matches they need to win to at least claim that 6th spot. And Delft still has more than enough time to somehow try and get that 2-0 lead back. They can still do it. 2 games, if they can win it, brings the series score altogether to a 2-2. If they can win another game, this brings the series score to a 2-3, which would be kind of good for them. Still 1 game left to go then. Now, EUR Arctic Gaming on the other side, obviously, if they win this next game, again, I've said it more than enough in this time today alone. If they win this, match point, pressure on Delft. Now, shots 13 on the side of EUR Arctic Gaming, a closed serve on the side of Rocket League, which gives me more than enough time to still talk about the shots I see on the side of Delft. 3 shots on the side of Delft, but 7 saves, which is at least half of what EUR Arctic Gaming has. The shots of EUR Arctic Gaming. EUR Arctic Gaming itself has 2 saves on 3 shots, which it's definitely not what you want to see, but it's what you get to see if you are Delft. Now, again, they still have more than enough time. They can still try to get back here. It is just going to be such a hard job, isn't it? Because EUR Arctic Gaming isn't holding back, and it shows. It really, really shows. Now, game number 3. And EUR Arctic Gaming is 2 games in front. Meaning if Delft isn't able to somehow pass them right now, oh, this is it. This is basically it for them. Now I stock here with a shot up front, sending it toward to Gripey. Yaskotaya with another try will be immediately denied by Marinas. Marinas just getting between that, holding that ball for as long as possible. Yaskotaya with another shot up front toward the corner with a 1 shot to the enemy goal. Gripey is between that. Lysander not able to somehow find his way toward the ball. Savage now on the down low. Attacking over the side. Lysander's between that. Trying to get it over toward Yaskotaya. Gripey. Over to Marinas. Marinas just barely able to stop it, which doesn't mean that he's safe because there's still an attack going on their own net. Lysander on the next attack. Istokia just barely getting between that. And the shot up forward. Still not able to find his way to the goal, but there's 2 players and they're gonna miss the ball. And that is massive for Delft because Delft can just use that on Savage to find the goal. And I've said it more than enough today. A goal basically served on the silver platter. And they will take that gladly. Now that's a 1-0. A lead that Delft never had in this series. And they not only need to cherish this, they need to now try to keep not only keep that lead, they need to try to bring this lead up forward. They need to get a 2-0, they need to get a 3-0. It's possible, yes. But if they are still in the defense and miss a ball like right now, this gets a bit harder. Still, Lysander not able to do anything with that. Gripey getting that shot up forward. I stock here. Ice Cream Man still not able to get the attack further going. Now the shot to the middle comes. Savage is behind that. But he's really not successful in getting it toward their enemy goal. Now they are in the defense again. Marinas just waiting for that ball. Just Kataria is behind that, getting the demo against Marinas. That might be the defensive player down, but the attack is still now on Ulu Arctic Gaming and just Kotaya. We just see cruising along, trying to get the demos left and right, and it doesn't work out for them because there's Ice-Stokia. I've called him the Ice Cream Man, and I'm going to do it again with the 2-0, with the shot on the net. Just Kotaya might be in it, but he's not in it to win it. That's the 2-0, and now with the lead, they desperately needed to improve, and they did it. They definitely did it. Now they just need to hold it for 3 minutes. Now Ice-Stokia. Lee's trying to bring his enemy team down. Getting the shot forward. Lysander still between that, still holding it. And now suddenly we find this whole game has evolved into something, into the exact opposite that we've seen the last game. Because in the last game, we've seen Ulu Arctic Gaming setting Delft back a whole lot without Delft being able to react to it, without Delft being able to somehow attack. Now we are seeing Ulu Arctic Gaming set back into their own side, and they aren't even able to get out there. And that is something I definitely wanted to see, because right now that is Delft coming out of their own skin. And I don't know if it's just Ulu Arctic Gaming completely underestimating the enemy team. I'm hoping it's not. And that Delft therefore is getting more chances that they should be getting. Or if Delft in the 1 minute break we had between games just said those magical 3, 4, 5 words, whatever they would be saying in a break, and those words just suddenly worked. Probably just score, lol. I mean, if it works, it works, and it definitely did work. And just score, lol, indeed, and they are doing it. 3-0, I'm really hoping it's not just score, lol, but it worked. I am not seeing a general improvement on any of their offensive or defensive plays. They are doing the same thing and they are getting rewarded for it. And they should have been rewarded for it a long time ago. And I'm glad they are going to be rewarded for it. Now, Ulu Arctic Gaming, on the other hand, right now is looking a bit pale. Because there's really not much coming out of their side. We are seeing 6 shots, yes, but we are only seeing 2 saves. And the defense on Ulu Arctic Gaming side was something I was somehow thinking was going to set them apart from Delft. Their defense in this game has not been showing up that often. Now Marinas with another demo trying to get the ball in their enemy goal, still not being able to do so. Lysander just trying to save something here. Savage bring the ball down. Skotaya still behind that, bring it a bit forward. Marinas still on the back attack. Grapey with another shot forward. Just Kotaya bringing it up high. Marinas just with a clear, just barely making it out of there. Savage still not in there. Too much German in my brain. Still not able to get the ball further out there. Now, 3-0. 10 seconds left to go. Both teams still waiting for something to happen. And it's in the end Lysander who's going to get another shot on the goal and bring us this 3-1. So, Ulu Arctic Gaming at least doesn't go out empty-handed, but I don't think that they will get a shot at winning this game in 7 seconds. Possible, yes. Theoretically, as always, but yeah, it is. Delft able to win this game, and like I said, they got the what's it called? They got what they deserved, they got what they needed, and they at least got something out of that. It was about time that they got a win, because Delft itself did not have bad game plan. Delft itself tried to do a lot with what they had, and in the end, I'm glad to see it worked out. Now, shot-wise, yes, Delft is now on top against Ulu. Ulu wasn't able to get out of their own skin defensive and offensively. Their defense was not abysmal, but definitely also not too far from Abysmal because, well, basically 3 saves is not what you were expecting from Uluwatu Gaming. The last 2 games we've seen definitely showed that. I mean, yes, the last game we've only seen 2 saves. We've only seen 3 shots on the side of Delph, meaning the defensive side on Uluwatu Gaming was strong enough to answer every clear with another clear or answer every ball that was dangerously close to their net before it got so close that the game counted as a shot. And let's face it, the game counts. I don't know what the game counts as shots. Sometimes it's way off, sometimes it should be in. Game's weird, man. Now, 2-1. Uluwatu Gaming is still up front. Delft has shown that they can score, that they can win against Uluwatu Gaming. Uluwatu Gaming knows that now. Uluwatu Gaming knows that they need to find a way to react, that they need to win another game to bring this at least to a 3-1. And Grapey shows that that is possible, scoring the first goal, 1-0. And Uluwatu Gaming looks to be back in this game. Now again, that is an early goal. It's not like we haven't seen that yet. I think we've seen that in nearly every game we had today. I am not too terribly surprised that we are going to that we saw that in this game as well. Question is if that early goal is going to be answered with another goal on the side of Delft, or if that early goal is going to be answered with another goal from Uluwatu Gaming. Really, honestly, both works for me. Now, Marinas trying to somehow defend that ball, trying to keep it from his own side. Will fail in doing so. That ball is definitely dangerously close to his own net. The Demmer against Marinas might just put this around, but still, the ball will not be dropped low enough to score it. Lysander with another try, but it also doesn't work. Marinas just respawning in time to get that ball out of the way and keep that 1-0. And somehow, I think, somehow I think it's Finns, right? Are bullying our Dutch team because, like, every time I look inside the Dutch goal, there's some goaltender being either demoed or bumped out of the way. And it's not something you want to be in if you're the Dutch side, because we've seen that playstyle more than enough. And we know that that playstyle oftentimes can lead to massive results. And if you're Delft, you don't want massive results on your enemy side, because if you're Delft, you now need to definitely score another game, because this series needs to be drawn out again for you to be able to at least win this without being under too much pressure. Now the shot down low will be brought towards Istokia. Still not behind the ball. Gripey sending it a bit further forward, trying to get it towards the enemy goal. It's not behind there. This is on the way back a bit more. Istokia in position. Marinas just somehow holding it from his own goal. Just Kotaya with the next shot up forward. Has a player behind him. Both players are way too far forwards, and this is what Istokia could have tried to profit from if he or Marinas would have gotten the boost. Now Marinas is being a bit Uluwatu Gaming is letting Marinas a bit too much room, because he should have never gotten that corner boost, but he does. And does that matter for this goal? I don't know. It might have. Marinas definitely had enough boost in there to get that goal and find that ball to the net. 1-1. Uluwatu Gaming therefore again set back a bit. We are seeing a draw. And well, while both teams are now playing again, I am still missing something. We are seeing both teams, obviously, now scoring, now playing. It's 3 shots on Uluwatu Gaming's side, it's 2 shots on Delft's side, and only 1 save overall in the game on the side of Marinas. That save doesn't save them from this next goal. Lysander gets the second shot on his side and brings this to a 2-1, because that shot definitely goes in. Now, what am I missing? I don't know. A lot, honestly. like the speed we've seen in the last 2 games, well, yeah, basically speed. We've seen the 2 teams react to the reactions to what they've done by their enemy team was something I was about to commend, because it was a fast game. A lot was happening, a lot of shots, a lot of save, a lot on both sides. In this game, I'm missing that speed a little bit. You could say I'm in need of speed. You could say that, but you shouldn't say that. 2-1. Marinas up front, bring the ball forward. Savage right behind there with another shot to the corner. That would have been a shot that would have been a great position to try and score that, but none of his team was in position to somehow get behind that. Now another shot to the corner. Still, there's Kotaya behind that. Centering it to Lysander. Lysander sending it over to the side. Marina's still behind that. Yasukataya finding the demo. Again, bullying his enemy team into losing. Is also a way to win this. Just that I think that demo was kind of unnecessary. Maybe would have... It's taken a bit of time for him to get back now. So, I mean, nothing bad happened on both sides, so it doesn't really matter if he had that demo or not. Lysander finding another demo. Yaskotaya setting it up for Grey P to bring it to the side. Marinas at least behind that. Bring it to the backboard is Lysander, but that goal is open! That ball isn't in. Grey P is behind that. That was his 1 goal what's that city called? Delft, desperately needed. And if they would have gotten that 1 goal, that 1 singular goal, they would have really messed up Ulu Arctic Gaming. With that 1 goal, they could have won this whole thing, and they could have brought the series to a 2-2 draw. This way, they barely got out of this. They being Ulu Arctic Gaming in this case, and they barely saved it. And this means Ulu Arctic Gaming now in a 3-1 lead. And they are trying to secure this 3-1 lead in the next game, because this is now a match point. Ulu Arctic Gaming doesn't only get 1 match point, they don't get 2 match points. Technically, they get 3 match points, although the 3rd match point is also a match point for Delft. So it's at least 2 games in which Ulu Arctic Gaming is now the team that can pressure their enemy team into losing, that can pressure their enemy team into making mistakes. Because in the last games it was like, okay, if I lose, I'm at least getting another shot at going into the EURC. In this game, if you lose, this is directly directed at Delft mostly. If you lose, you're done for. You're not getting your spot in the EURC. That's it. That's it. I don't have anything else to say, but it's just that. And this means that Delft now is in desperate measures to try and get a win in this series. They need to try to find a way to get 3 games in a row. It's not a full reverse sweep. It would be a reverse sweep if this was a best of 5. Now, Lysander starting this off strong, getting goal number 1 after 9 seconds from the clock. And that means that Delft now, like with every single goal that comes, I'm going to ignore that. With every single goal that comes, the pressure against Delft just rises. I know I said I'm going to ignore that, but that was 2 players, 1 on both sides, completely missing the kickoff. Now I have seen a lot. I didn't think that was possible. Now, 1-0, a goal wide open, and Yaskotaya is going to take that and is going to score that in. How did that happen? Yaskotaya on his own, getting the ball below Istokje, and with that the goal is wide open. Istokje was the last player on the defense of Delft, and with a completely open net, well, that's an easy goal for Ulu Arctic Gaming. And Ulu Arctic Gaming is going to take that goal. Now, I am still not sure if I'm pronouncing the names right. What I'm sure of is that I'm definitely not. But, well, I can't do anything right. EUR Arctic Gaming definitely can. Because that is just Kotaya not only shooting the ball in the goal, he is also assisting himself in getting in the way of Marinas. I mean, you've got to give credit where credit's due. Not a lot of players do that, mostly because a lot of players have their team to do that. But if you can do it, you should do it. Now a 3-0 after such a goal, yes. And EUR Arctic Gaming is going to gladly take that. Delft, on the other hand, now has 4 minutes, well basically 3 minutes and 50 seconds to try and somehow turn this 3-0 around, take the upper hand, and get basically what you could call a best of 5 reverse sweep and a best of 7. 3 games in a row without making any mistakes. From here on out, in this game, they can't do and make any mistakes. They have to basically play this flawlessly and fast if they don't want to lose against EUR Arctic Gaming. If they are not able to do this, well, it's a 4-1. At least not a 4-0. Now, shot up forward. Marinas trying to set up another goal right here. He's got a player right behind him. Never mind, that is himself. Lysander is going to take the answer to that and try and clear the ball a bit longer. That's Kotaya right behind that. The demo from iStock here. Getting the demo against Yaskotaya. Both names I can't pronounce. Great. Rapey, at least able to find a save. Lysander. Sending it a bit further out. Bring the ball over to Ryskotje. Over the corner, Lysander to the goal. The goal is open and Yaskotaya just coming from down below, getting the 4-0. And while at this point it really doesn't seem like the game Delft wants to be playing right here. Now shot-wise, right, we've got nearly nothing on both sides. Delft only has 2 shots. Ulu only has 4 shots. But Ulu also has 4 goals. That is a 100% conversion rate. And they are gladly going to take that. Now that doesn't mean that Delft is completely out right now. But in 2 minutes and 15 seconds, 4 goals is going to be a bit harder than having 5 minutes to at least score 1 goal after the start of the game. Yeah. Do I see it? Maybe. But Delft in the last game, Delft had their shot in the last game, yes. Well, actually the game before that, the game number 3. In this game we haven't seen that much of them. Now this, again, is at least a goal. Marinas bring it toward Savrej in the middle, the 4-1. Now it's only a 3-goal lead and 2 minutes, that is definitely possible. Against EUR Arctic Gaming, that is a bit harder to do. And it's going to be interesting to see how Delft is going to approach it, because I'm getting the feeling that they definitely aren't holding back right now, like most teams might do if they are in a 5-1 after that shot from Jaskotja, who just scores 1 goal after another, 4 goals for him alone. Most teams, after sitting 4 goals back, would just stick their head in the sand. I think that is a saying in English like it is in German. Would just stick their head in the sand and just give up. Or not most teams, but some teams. It's great to see that Delft definitely isn't. Especially if you are on the enemy match point, and if you, before that, had the game against Bern that Delft had. Can't feel too good. Still, Delft doesn't seem like they are giving up, and that is something that is great to see. Savage, on the other hand, I think had ping problems this whole game, because that is definitely a car not moving. Now it's still a 5-1, and there's nothing we can do against that. And in 50 seconds, they need to somehow find a way to get behind that. Yeah, Savage just lost connection. So that is definitely not... I was just thinking Savage was doing the exact opposite of what I'm saying and giving up completely, but nah. I wouldn't have seen that in a team like Delft. Still, adds one player less. If he's given up or if he's lost connection, it doesn't change the matter that he isn't there. Obviously, he's just lost this the connection. Meaning, basically all chances Delft had at somehow still winning this in what parallel universe you are in are basically gone. They are still able to get a scoring goal by the ice cream man there. I stuck here, but that is basically it. Is it? It's barely noticeable that that's my first time saying anything in Dutch, isn't it? It's perfect pronunciation of a simple word like I stuck here. Now, 5-2. The goal towards the end is not going to happen, but Uluwachta Gaming able to get the 5-2 at the end. I just remembered against Delft. Delft not able to find the way back against Uluwachta Gaming, and Uluwachta Gaming successful in finding that last game, which means I'm able to say this one last time. Uluwachta Gaming, congratulations, because you have just 1 year spot, 1 year slot for the EURC in the next season. And with that, it is official. We've got our 6 teams from this EUR who go into the EURC, which is great to see. But of course, we still don't have a winner for it all. That winner will be given to us next week. For that, we still need a 4th team. That team will either be Bern or it will be Groningen. Groningen versus Bern, our Challenger playoffs final. After a 5-minute break, after the server went down for maintenance right now, after a 5-minute break, we will be back and continuing with that last game. Bern versus Groningen. We'll see you soon. Till then, just grab yourself a cup of coffee or something.
Breathe in the air, the light that surrounds me. If we hold ourselves together, we'll go far. Created a space, in my head it was empty, but I know that I want to be where you are. I was denied. I had spent those years, did not recognize the person that's inside. We have a purpose, but to take that leap, you must recognize the person that's inside. Believe me, I swear, the story's not over. As I fall, I will continue to get up. I cannot stop because it is over. Live in the moment, living in a quiet place. To be everywhere, to be without a care. I was denied. perfect noon. It's a work in progress, good things go slow. And I'm no saint. I fall and you pick me up again. Got your habits, got them too. Just feel like maybe I could lose them with you. Sinking in and I guess I kinda like that. For the first time you really got my back. Got your habits, got them too. Just feel like maybe I could lose them with you. Lose them with you, lose them with you. Just feel like maybe I could lose them with.
Nothing has changed over the break. I'm still Benji. I still, like you can see, have no sense of fashion because I'm still wearing Santas with sunglasses apparently. I don't know who came up with that, but they sure did come up with something. Now, what also hasn't changed is that we still are in our technically grand final. Bern versus Groningen. They are still going with the same rosters, which we are showing now because we are not trying to fit in an extra 5 minutes of break, which we can't give me. Now, on the side of Bern, we will see still Mac, Wizzy, and Hal, which it was for me pronouncing all those names. On the side of Groningen, we are going to see Flux, Cookie, and Face. It's great because the two teams in the grand final are somewhat pronounceable. I'm still going to miss the ice cream stick. Thank you for Google for that grateful translation. But I mean, we still get to see Mac, Wizzy, Hal, Flux, Cookie, and Face, which, I mean, yeah, it's names. It's not going to be close to Ice Cream Stick. Ice Cream Stick's a great name. Now, what do I expect? I'm so sorry, but I just can't get over the fact that they don't know. It's Google. What do I expect? Now, what do I expect from the game? Bern, on the one hand, is, again, an incredibly strong team. They've shown that against Delft. Bern, on the other hand, also has huge troubles trying to basically close their own goal because, I mean, we've seen it against Delft. Bern gets into the swing of things, gets a bit of wind in their sails, and I've said it before, sails up on the shore and is stuck there with an open goal on their back. If Groningen finds that out quickly enough, and I think they should have found that out more than a long time ago, they should be able to capitalize on that by finding their open net, getting along clear, and getting it in their open net. It's really easy, I don't have to explain that. But if they can do this, this should be the thing that wins this game against Bern. Bern, yes, has a strong offense, and I'm expecting that to be what gives them some goals against Groningen. But in the end, Bern having trouble in their backlines might be what tips this their whole scales against them. I'm still thinking that on paper, Bern has the strongest teams or the stronger team on the field because again, Groningen is just going with 2/3 of their main team, of their main roster. But, I mean, if they can, or if they are warmed up enough to not have those huge, terrible defensive mistakes, then this is still an open game for Bern. If they can't fix that, this just having the net open might be what sets Groningen apart from Bern. In the end, it's an open game for both teams, which is something I am grateful to see. But I really don't know on paper what to expect from both of them. All players are great. All players can do a lot. Both teams have defensive and offensive problems. It's just that the ones Bern was showing were just so much worse because the net was just completely open. So I don't know. Anyway, because I don't want to talk a lot because I'm completely alone because no one likes me, I am going to give my... I was trying to give my ready, but I missed the Y and I just gave my red. Well, red I am indeed. Ready for this game. I am also Bern versus Groningen, our final. The winner of this goes into the Champions playoffs next week, which I hope I'm not casting alone. I think I'm casting that as well. I am not sure. Let's see how this turns out. Now, Hell going up front, trying to somehow get the ball across, and that is a strong shot by Flux. Flux gets it in 1-0, an immediate start for Groningen, who will take that, and I'm just so grateful to at least get the early win. If they can hold this, even better. If they can take this even further, that's much, much better. So let's see. X-Cookie, up forward, face, at least able to hold that. Flux getting a ball dangerously close to his own net, but for his amusement, there's still face in there to hold that ball and still save that team. Now, Wizzy on the next attack, getting the ball again dangerously close, but that is way off the goal, so not in. The 1-0 still standing. I'm just throwing a quick look on the scoreboard. 2 shots for Groningen and 1 for Bern. Not a lot of shots right now, which might be good for Bern, because like I said, if Bern gets a bit too fast, it's way too fast and basically destroying itself. So this right now doesn't really have to be a bad thing, but Bern profited from shooting a lot of shots and not having the best shot to goal ratio, but at least having goals because they had a huge shot count. And even if your shot count is just 3%, if you're shooting 300 times, that is 9 goals. Yes. I mean, of course, the shot to goal ratio is never going to be so low, and the shot ratio is never going to be so high. But my math skills are so bad that I had to make it that high, so I can easily see what the answer is. Now, next attack. Face still on the attack. Bring the ball forward. Flux still behind that. Hell able to get the save, but he needs to react quickly because Cookie is still on the attack. Mac at least trying to get the save. Brings the ball a bit further forward to the Groningen goal. Hell, next attack. The ball's up there. Cookie behind it. Wizzy just shooting it further back. The ball is in position. Mac bringing it up there. Next Cookie on the attack. The demo on the net. And that opens the goal completely. But there's no one on this side of Groningen to profit from that. That ball is dangerously close, but not close enough, meaning that is still not going in there. Still a 1-0. Hell with the next attack. The ball towards the corner, still not in. And Hell isn't happy with that. Hell needs to find the next goal quick. This is 2 minutes and 10 still to go. And that is the goal by Hell with all the goals we could have seen today, right? And it's that one. That one that Hell beautifully angled with no one in between there because they all thought this ball would go at another angle. Meaning this is the one, both 1-1. 2 minutes and 6 still left to go. And both teams now get a fair shot at winning this. Both teams now don't have to pressure themselves too much because they are behind and only have 2 minutes left to go. Now, Hell is getting the demo against Face, meaning there's one player left there. One player less in the offense. But, well, it's Flux still there, and Flux is definitely not getting anyone on the defense against him, because that one player who could have been there is still sitting back, getting the demo. Which is one of the risks you take if you get the demo, which is why I am definitely not a fan of unnecessary demos. X-Cookie on the other end is getting 2 demos that could have been necessary, because with 2 demos you are basically sitting in a 3 versus 1, but they basically do nothing, and FaZe is using that to get another goal. 3-1, and it somehow is a much better game for Groningen right now, who on paper have the better team, but on the field are just using 2 of their best players. Obviously, no shade thrown for Flux, because Flux is still a good player, and I think he fits nicely in this Groningen. He is the player who scored 2 of their 3 goals, plus 2 of their 4 saves, plus at least 2 of their 7 shots. He's right now leading the pack, and it's great to see, because I was really not sure with a main roster that is strong if their remaining players would be able to hold up with that, but they are. They definitely are. Flux right now getting the shot over to Cookie, Cookie to the goal. He might be demoed, but he's also scoring 4-1. Like I said, everyone on this team is really doing their part. On the other hand, with Burn, it's definitely not different, but Burn isn't as successful. Burn is right now getting caught back a bit more. He's not coming out there, they are not coming out there as often as they'd like to do so. And that's a huge problem for them, because at this point it's not their problem they are a bit too aggressive. Their problem is that they are not aggressive enough. Now Flux getting a ball out there, trying to find his way towards the enemy goal. FaZe over to the corner. Hell is between that, saving that for one moment. Flux with the next attack, bring it over to the corner, right over the enemy net. 2 players missing. Wizzy will try to profit from that. Will at least see the next player trying to get toward him, getting the mid boost to get himself to the enemy net, but he's still not able to find a goal. Hell shooting it to the corner, but the time is not enough. It's a 4-1 with the clock running out, with at least another shot right there on the net, and somehow not in. Not that it would have changed anything, because this is still a 4-1. Well, it would have been nice for Burn to at least get that shot out there. Still they don't. 4-1, Groningen 3 shots in the lead. And Burn, well, Burn isn't able to do that much in this game, aren't they? They get, well, at least the 9 shots in there. They get 5 saves in there, which is a start, yes. But, I mean, 5 saves with 9 shots isn't that bad. On the other hand, we have 6 saves with 9 shots. I don't know. Like, Burn definitely played this a lot better against Delft. I don't know if it's just that Delft allowed them to play a lot better, because Delft wasn't really able to hold their defense that good against them. Groningen right now is holding their defense that way that even if you are trying to get to the enemy goal, there's nearly always a player on the center line holding the ball out a bit further, so that you yourself aren't even able to cross over to the enemy half, which is what Groningen right now needs. Now Groningen, of course, 1-0 now in the lead. Burn needs to find the answer to that. They've got 3 games left to do so. If they lose 3 games in a row now, they are out and will not advance towards the Champions bracket. But there's still so many games left to play that I don't think that this should be a huge problem for either one of those teams. Now, ball out in the air. FaZe right in front of that. Bring it towards Cookie. He's not bringing it in. Flux over. FaZe still on it, but still not successful in doing so. Cookie at least holding the ball so that there's nothing that can go into their own half. Mac with another shot to the goal. Flux bringing it a bit higher. And it's still not in, but they had their chance. And that's the defense of Groningen. Like I said, even if you get to the goal, there's always one to hold the ball back a bit further. And it works beautifully in that case. Now, 4 minutes left to go. And we're still sitting on 0-all. Cookie just waiting outside, trying to find a ball that he can answer to. Trying to find a way to get to the enemy goal. Mac hoping that he can somehow save this next ball. Hell is still waiting on the backboard. The shot towards the goal. Hell is down. Hell's bringing it out there, getting the clear and saving that ball. But the ball is right now in the hands of Cookie. Cookie is preparing the next attack. Will lose the ball immediately and must now try to save this next attack on his enemy side. Hell not successful at all. Face brought back a bit, moving a bit too far for my taste, because now there's no one in the goal who can save that ball against Wizzy. Wizzy shooting it in, and that's the 1-0 with, well, I mean, 2 contestants in the goal, but none of them are really in position to hold that. I don't know if Flux was put off by Cookie going for that ball, that he didn't want to double commit, or if he just backflip. But, I mean, at the end, it'd still be 1-0. Doesn't matter how it happened, it just matters that it happened. And Burn definitely is happy with that. Now, Burn just needs to try and not only hold that 1-0, but needs to try and get that 1-0 a bit higher. Because if they get pushed that far back into their own side again, like they did in the last game, this is going to be trouble. Mac, shot long to the corner. Cookie, at least able to get between it. Is trying to bring the ball a bit higher. Wizzy up to Hell. Hell bringing it down, trying his best, and it looked good, but it's just not connecting. And with that, it's still the 1-0. Now, Cookie again on the attack. Coming toward this next corner. Balls up high. From there on out, Hell with this next attack on Face. Face, at least going up a bit higher to the corner. Cookie not really successful with anything, and that ball is going far back and there's no one contesting it, and somehow that went in. Wizzy with the 2-0. There's 2 players there. There's 2 players there on the enemy side, and both, I mean, one went right under the ball, the other one just wasn't even near it. So 2-0, 2 minutes left to play. And Groningen not looking as strong as they did in the last match. Which is kind of surprising, because Groningen was giving us a good showing last match. This time, not so much. Now, Mac able to get the demo against Flux. With that, they are able to get a bit further forward, but still not able to score another goal. But Mac is there and doing everything I did not say. Mac will find the goal. 3-0. Flux able to shoot it to the side. Mac is right behind there. And with Cookie still not in position to hold that ball, that is in. 3-0. And there's no one to do anything against that. Meaning 1 minute 30 left to go. Kickoff with Face at least able to get the demo. That ball again on its way toward the enemy goal again. From Groningen, not the best showing offensive wise, because we've definitely seen more. Face now with 2 demos. Flux could have tried to use that to find a goal, but will miss the goal. That is wide open at that point, which again is completely unfortunate, because they had the chance, but the 3-0 still stands. And will make their life a lot harder. Now 50 seconds left to go, and 3 goals left to go, and I don't think that they can do it. I think this should be the draw for Bern. Groningen at least able to find 1 goal, but they still need to find 2. And I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be a really hard thing for them to pull off. If they pull it off. Because 2 goals in 40 seconds. Possible, yes. But Bern right now is playing this really strong defensively. And I think they've seen what they did wrong in the first match. They've seen what they did wrong in the first game. And now they are trying to perfect that. And right now it's working out. Mac able to get the demo. Hal finding a second demo. And that is Wizzy getting the shot in. 2 demos are more than enough. Wizzy will answer with a goal. And the 4-1 will basically complete this game. Because I don't think that you can find 3 goals in 15 seconds. Not in this game right here. So yeah, 10 seconds on the clock. But I think that's it. And that is the draw. Flux at least able to find another one. But, well, I mean, that's about it, isn't it? Because you've got 2 seconds now. Even if you perfectly score that next goal, 2 seconds is only enough for 1 single goal. And a 3-4 isn't enough. So Bern able to get this game, bring this to a 4-2 in this game, a 1-1 in the series overall. Meaning we go into a best of 5 series now. 3 games for both teams to win. Which is possible. 3 games for both is possible. It's still not going to be an easy one for both teams. Now, what happened? Because Groningen, after having such a good first game, is now completely set back by Bern, who just, I don't know, like their defense wasn't that much better than what we've seen in the last game. We've gotten 3 saves on the board, answering to 9 shots again on the side of Groningen. Like, it's not like they drastically put up their saves or something. It's just that somehow Groningen wasn't able to score goals. They were really pressured out of there. Every single player in front of the goal made it so that Groningen wasn't even able to get close to scoring a goal. And yes, they didn't get the save for it, but they still made their enemy team miss. Now, server's going down for maintenance again, because why wouldn't it? So we go into slow it all down a bit, going to pause a bit. We're going to go back in about a second, because we're still waiting for the players to rejoin. There they are. I am now giving them my ready and not my red. And with that, we should be ready to go. Game number 3 in match number 4. The final to decide who's going to the champion grand final. Well, it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a hard one. It's still a possible one for both teams. Like I said, the 1-1, they've drawn out this whole series. I think both teams still can do it. Wizzy, now on the attack, bringing the ball further towards the middle. Face in a position to shoot up front. Getting the next ball down to Cookie. Cookie to the center. Wizzy in position. Flux at least shooting it to the side, but there's no one behind him to somehow take that ball. Face is now coming out of the shadows, but is not able to do anything with this position to score another goal. Now Cookie still in position. Wizzy bringing that ball a bit higher. Cookie bringing it down toward Face. He's just now waiting there. Cookie with another shot toward the corner. Over toward Flux. He's just waiting in position. That ball's in 1-0. And suddenly the defense on Bern's side isn't looking as strong as they did the last time. Because this is something they would have prevented long ago. They wouldn't even have given Groningen that many shots on the goal. To be fair, the game only counted 1 shot. But I counted way more. And I don't know. Groningen right now is not doing Bern right now isn't doing what they did the last game. Maybe it's just this once. Maybe. That's for Cookie to decide, because Cookie's in the next attack. Missing the ball, giving it over towards Wizzy. Wizzy not really finding the strength to shoot that ball a bit further. Flux also missing all his boost. Mac doesn't. Mac is able to shoot it a bit higher. Still not good enough to find a goal for now. Wizzy is at least going to use that to get the ball on an offensive play. But that offensive play is quickly rewritten to a defensive play with Wizzy going to the back, somehow finding the save to still save his team. But that one out is still going to be against them. Now 3 minutes left on the clock. FaZe in position, trying to get that ball a bit further. Back over towards Cookie. Cookie still in position, still trying to find his way towards the goal. Will not be able to do so. At least send it downward toward FaZe. FaZe is right there, just waiting for a chance to bring it to the enemy goal. It's for him not. It's impossible to do for him. Now, half of the game over. 1 goal scored in this whole game, and a second one to follow with the demo by FaZe and the goal by Flux. 2-0, and Groningen has taken it. Now, it's still more than enough time for Burn to find an answer. There's still more than enough time to just find those 2 goals. The problem is, right now, we're not seeing too much from Burn that shows us that they are able to do it. There's not too much that shows us, yeah, this is the Burn we were expecting. This is the Burn that you can count on. Right now, it's more like Burn is trying, but there's really nothing coming out of it. FaZe with another shot toward the goal. That's in. 3-0. And again, FaZe is fine with it. Groningen has taken it. And it's really looking like they are taking this game. 2 minutes left to go. 3 goals still to take. And, doesn't look like a lot is coming from Groningen. Not Groningen, from Bern. Now, it doesn't mean that the whole series is completely gone. It's still a best of 7. But you would be losing a second game. Now let's FaZe finding another shot forward. That's in. And with that, this is the 4-0. And suddenly, I don't know what happened, but suddenly there's really not much coming from Bern at all. It's starting to look like our first game, where it was basically Groningen taking the lead, Groningen getting a lot of shots done, like again right here from Cookie, 5-0. But there wasn't a lot coming from Bern. Not a lot to answer, not a lot to save anything. And right now, 5-0, that is more than enough to win this. 1 minute and 23 on the clock, and I don't think that that should be nearly enough to get those 5 goals back. Hell, with another shot, bringing it down. Are able to answer that. Mac over to Cookie. Cookie at least saving it. Is now in the next attack as FaZe right behind him. FaZe over toward Flux. Flux now in position. Cookie getting a bit further back. FaZe with the next attack. Bringing the ball down, but there's still no goal coming. Cookie upwards. Ball now in position for Flux to bring him down. FaZe right behind him, but there's still a player on the side of Groningen of Bern. On the ball. Hell, what they say. Mag holding it a bit further down. FaZe getting the demo. Wizzy not in position, therefore. This ball quickly getting into the offense. Flux will take that. And that is the 6-0 with Groningen getting so far in the lead that I don't think that there's a lot that Bern can do right now. Definitely not in 34 seconds. Which is the point where you as Bern start to worry. Because yes, you are able to get the 6-1, And I somehow feel that this is a setup for a Brazil. I hope not, but it looks like one. But like, this looks like the first game. They were able to get out in the second game, but something tells me that maybe they only got out because the first game was something where Groningen was able to profit really heavily from whatever Bern was doing. In the second game, they might have underestimated Bern. It does happen. Luckily, no Brazil. And in the third game, they stopped underestimating them. They saw what Bern can really do. And if that is really the case, I don't think that Groningen will start underestimating Bern again. If that's really why they lost the second game in such a tragic fashion, I don't think it's going to happen a second time. And that would be a terrible thing even for Bern. Because basically all we've seen was them losing terribly, like not terribly, but in a dominant fashion by Groningen, or them barely winning. What was the score in the first game? I don't have a co-cursor next to me. So question to the stream, to my production. What was the score in the second game? Even my production doesn't know. That's how low it was. I'm going with that. Now, a 6-2 in game 3. Bern at least able to get some scores out of there. At least able to get 2 goals. But I don't know. It's not something where I would put my trust in Bern, if I'm honest. And I am in the position where I can put my trust in someone. And I can tell you, I don't put that much trust in Bern right now. I don't think it's going to end up in a 4-1 that Groningen is going to get the next 2 games in a row. I still think that this could end up a 4-2 for Groningen if everything goes bad for Bern. Now Bern needs to show me that they are still there, that they can still play their best game, that they can still find the answers against Groningen. Bern needs to show me. Let's see. Cookie bringing this down. Face. Getting it over towards the corner. Cookie is in position, not able to pick up that game. Flux with the ball a bit higher. Not able to find another goal. Not even able to get close to the goal. Wizzy in position. Ball high. Cookie behind that. That's dangerously close. But Hell is still on that. Hell is still holding strong. Holding the fort and holding it clean. Still a no scoring match on both sides. Flux at least able to get a demo, but that doesn't give him a score. Mac now back on the side, trying to get the ball higher. Flux in position, bringing it over to Face. He's just waiting for his position, for his chance to shine. It's not coming. It's desperately not coming. Hell, on the next attack, trying to lead it in, trying to find the ball to the middle, to the center, where his team is staying, but he's waiting a bit too long, and with that he's dropping low. Face is getting it, and Face is starting the next attack we are seeing right now. Cookie with the next, with another shot on the goal, still not able to profit from it. He somehow quickly moves into the defense, gets the save number 1, gets the save number 2, and now he just needs to hope for Flux, that Flux can somehow find the clear that will keep their goal clearer a bit longer. That clear is definitely not found because Cookie is immediately in a 2v1, which he somehow wins. Face with the next attack, and that is dangerously close. So close even that that ball exploded with a 1-0 for Groningen. And again, I am not feeling what I felt when coming from Bern like I did before. So, I don't know. It's it's starting to go out of control again. It's starting to be like the last games we've seen. Because Cookie is able to find another goal, find another ball, and that's a 2-0. Like I said, I really don't know with Bern at this point. Because Bern isn't terrible. Bern is one of the best teams we've got in this league. Groningen is as well. But Bern isn't really showing what they can. They don't even get the chance to do so, which is surprising. Maybe. There's still 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. 2 goals to get back on, which is a possible thing to do. If they lose this, they are then against the match point, and I don't need to explain that a fourth time. Flux over at the corner boost. Cookie right behind him. Moves a bit too quickly, nearly misses that ball, but is now on the attack. Plays around one player, plays around the second one. That's the 3-0. Cookie on his own. Give that man one. Give him what he wants. He wants a cookie. Give him one. Because he deserved that. That goal was good. Not even good enough. That goal was exactly what I wanted to see. So yes, a 3-0. And, well, Groningen, completely okay with how it's going right now. Bern on the other side, well, Bern, a bit, twitchy, because, well, it's really not going like they wanted this to go, isn't it? They are not able to score, they are not able to get out of their own half, they are just put back every single time they try to do something. And even if they get dangerously close to scoring, there's still somehow always a cookie in the goal, or a face, or a flux to keep it clean, to hold it out. So yeah, this is definitely not something where Bern wants to be right now. But it is where they are right now, and that is what makes it even worse for them. Now, Cookie, with the next attack, brings that ball really high. He's not able to bring it down, though. Hell, over to the side. Over to Flux. Flux with the next attack. Over to Face. Face with another shot, and Max still in the goal, but not able to keep that open. Because he's still just returning from that one save he did against Flux. Actually, it wasn't even Mac in the goal. It was, I think, Hal. But also, he was also returning and trying to hold another ball. Now, 4-0. 40 seconds left to go. I am pretty sure we were in a similar situation last game, and I don't think that this situation will go any differently. Maybe not the 6-2 we've seen before that, but I still think this should be the game for Groningen. Meaning Groningen will now advance to a match point. If somehow in 20 seconds Bern doesn't score 4 goals, which... Does anyone really believe in that? Flux over to the side. Face. Keeping that, trying to bring that a bit further towards their goal. Mizu right behind that. Cookie over to the side. And it's Cookie waiting in the corner boost over to Flux, but Flux is a bit too late. The ball hits the ground. And with that, Groningen is able to bring this match. Have I missed something, Wizzy? To an end. 4-0. And no, I have not missed something. Otherwise, Flux would have missed it as well. Wizzy's gone. I think he miscounted or thought this was a best of 5 or something. But he's rejoining. Interesting. But yeah, Groningen, I mean, they are still in the same form we've seen them before. We've got 4 shots on the side of Bern. 4 saves on the side of Bern. To be fair, also only 7 shots on Groningen. 7 isn't that far off of the 9 we've gotten before. 4 on Bern is much lower than everything we've seen from Bern. And I don't like that, or Bern doesn't like that. What I like is that Wizzy just basically rejoined a server that closed down immediately after. So, right. Yeah, this is going to be a really hard thing for Bern to still recover from. Because not only did the last 3 games not go their way, well, actually 2 games not go their way. The first game was also terribly against them, which would... I don't know. On top of that, they are also on a match, or against the match point. They now need to win against Groningen, while Groningen just needs to win 1 single game. They still need 3. That's 3 match points. And that is not only pressure, but also a defense on the enemy side they cannot get around, which I still cannot understand. Now, 4 minutes and 40 left to go. Hal, bring the ball further up front. Still not able to bring it into the goal though. Back over to the side. Face is in position. He's going to miss that ball as well. Flux over to Mac. Face will hit it a bit first. Will hit it first. The goal is open, but with Face missing, they have no shot to recover that ball. Face missing gave them no shot at making this a score. And with that, that goal is open and Wizzy scores 1-0. And Bern might just need that to get back. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But they are definitely fine with getting that 1 goal. No matter how they've gotten that. That is completely fine with them. Now, 1-0. Groningen, for the first time in a long time, not in the lead. They need to find their mojo. They need to find their way back up front there. Because otherwise, Bern is going to take it. And if Bern is going to take it, Bern might be able to find the win. They need to get even more wins to maybe find the next 3 wins they need to get. They desperately need to get, keep in mind. Now, shut up front from Mac. Mac still not able to do anything against the defense. 2 players at the ball. They need to be careful that they don't lose that ball. Because if they do, that's, well, basically a double commit. Now, Wizzy, keeping it long, trying to play over Flux. He's actually successful with that. Face is still waiting for that ball, and it is Hal who gets between that, and Hal brings down that ball. And with that, that is still not a score. 1-0. That still stands. Another ball over to the side. Hal able to save that, able to keep them alive a bit longer. That ball is still dangerously close. Mac not able to get that. Brings it over to his team. Face in position. Comes forward with another shot over to Flux. But they need to keep and stay careful. Because there's still an attack on the side of Bern that is still coming really close to getting them down. And they still have found no way to score in this match. Which might just be the end for this match for them. Face, again, not able to hit that ball. I feel like concentration is really starting to get low at this point. Cookie, right behind the ball, trying to get a bit further out. Looks over to the side, not able to find his way out. He's got Face at least. Hal in the middle. Flux at least able to touch, at least able to bring down Hal a bit. But not a lot, because Mac is on the next attack. The demo on Flux, and that ball is still somehow not in. They will still keep alive though. Hal with the next attack. Flux between that, keeps it out of the net. Face again on the next attack. Mac with another shot up front, still not able to bring it in. This is still completely open on both sides. Now Cookie between that. Flux over to Cookie. Cookie on another round. Face. Over to the corner. Brings it down in front of the enemy net. There's still no goal to be found. 1 minute left to go. And Groningen is still trying to find that one scoring goal. And they are so close, but they are missing ever so often. Flux with another try. Cookie right behind him. Still waiting for the Face to somehow center it so that Cookie can come forward. Face missing. Cookie stopping. And it's disastrous how this is not working for Groningen. Bern is more than happy with that. But even they know that they need to keep on their toes. Because there's a lot coming for them, but a second goal by Wizzy might just do the trick nicely. 2-0. And Groningen sitting back, not able to do this. Now, 30 seconds left. And Flux over to the side. Wizzy at least holding that. Again, Groningen not able to score. Everything they try to do is definitely not working. And, well, there's nothing really working for them, nothing they can really do to score. This is a 2-0 with basically nothing coming from the side of Groningen. Which is more than surprising, let's be honest here. Groningen has shown a lot in those last matches. This is more like the first match, which me and the production are still not able what they scored there. But a 2-0 in this match is way lower than the 6-2 they had before. Well, still, Bern did a good job in there. Bern did a good job keeping Groningen to their own side. Groningen got out a lot, got really close even to Bern's goal. But they never really had the chance to profit from getting out of their own side. Yes, they got really close. They made it dangerous. Maybe Bern had a higher pulse than normally, but that's about it. They had 4 shots in this whole game, 3 of which got saved by Bern. 1 that is still traveling around the world at this point. So, yeah. We're waiting for Groningen to do what they can do. Maybe this is again what we've seen in game 2 and 3. And 1. Groningen scoring high. Groningen losing. Groningen scoring high. Maybe. Now, question is, will they score high or will they not? Game number, I don't know, 3-2, game number 5, game number 6. Game number 6 starting with Flux finding the first goal. 1-0. There's at least 1, 2 at maximum games to still be played, and Flux wants to keep it at 1, meaning they still need to win this game. 1-0, and it's looking like it works. They are doing a job to try and keep Werner out of there. For now it's only a 1-0 with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left, so there's not really much you can say right now. There's still a lot that can happen. But Cookie is on the next attack. That goal is open. Cookie will take that ball. 2-0. And Groningen looks like they are back. Bern on the other side is really not looking up to speed. I'm really not liking how they fluctuate from, well, playing not really well to playing well enough. This is not what I expected Bern to do, to be perfectly honest there. Now it's still a 2-0. Another shot up high. 4 minutes and 10 left to go. And Bern's still waiting. Groningen now on the defense. Cookie should be between there, should be able to keep that ball out. But there's still a lot happening. Now, face. Right behind there. Wizzy with a shot on the goal. Cookie holding that a bit longer. Still not able to get behind the ball. Flux up top. And that is still an open goal. Not an open goal, that is still a goal held by Cookie. And honestly, if Cookie holds that goal, there's nothing coming in, I feel like. Like, the defense on Groningen's side is really strong. The only way to get around there is to completely... well, either demo your offense or to completely outplay them, which most of the time doesn't even work against Groningen. So yeah, the 2-0 right now, the current score. And if I'm honest, I don't think that Bern has gone over a 2-0 or over a 2-goal lead yet. Not Groningen, Bern. So they need to start getting 3 goals in a match. Otherwise, yeah, this is over. This would be over if they can't do this. For now, it is looking like they again are struggling with getting around the enemy defense. There's still a strong defense standing on the enemy side with Groningen. Bern for now is just desperately trying to attack, desperately trying to get a ball through. They need to get a ball through, not even one, they need to get 2 through to at least get to the overtime. For now, that looks like a fairy tale still in the making. Because 2 minutes left to go and there's not really a lot looking like goals right now. We've had a lot of close calls right now. There's another close call right there. But really nothing going in. And close calls are nice and all, yes? But if it's not going in, it ain't a goal. Which I shouldn't need to say at this point. It's a huge problem for Bern. And a problem that's been persistent with the last 4 matches. Now, 1 minute and 30 left to go. Mac on his own side. Able to hold that ball off. But it's still hot. It's still dangerous. Mac on the side. In the middle. Going high. Trying to at least get the clear. Cookie in his own goal. Finding the save to at least hold this ball out a little bit longer. It's now all down to Face. Face finding an easy ball to save. There's another ball right behind there. Wizzy shooting that ball. Mac not able to get in any way further. 50 seconds left to go, and I think another goal by Groningen would seal this all off, meaning this is the time for Bern to start doing their best, because they've got 40 seconds, and 40 seconds, 2 goals are still able to do. But like I said, a 3rd goal by Flux might just seal the deal. And there is the 3rd goal I was talking about. Flux finding the goal by Cookie, finding the ball by Cookie, shooting it over. Yes, there's a player he was hitting, but that player just sends it over towards the net. 3-0. And, well, not the best start by Bern. Or end for Bern, let's say it. It's not a start anymore. This might just have been the end for Bern. They've got 20 seconds left. Cookie is leading the next attack, bringing the ball a bit further. Even if this attack doesn't work, it's costing so much time. But it does work. And, well, do the math. That is basically around 4 seconds per goal that they now have. A goal with 2 seconds needs to be a goal that is uncontested. Just a straight shot from the kickoff to the enemy goal. That is possible, 2 seconds. Not in a real game though. So yeah, that's it. From this point on, even theoretically, you can't win this if you're Bern. Meaning Groningen has just done it. We're still waiting for this game to end, but Mac knows Groningen has done it. Groningen is going to keep the ball up a bit longer, but that's on the ground. And Groningen is the winner of the Challenger Cup, is the winner, the best of the 4 teams we have in this game. Groningen will be the one taking it all from place, I think they were 6, yes, to place 4. And with that, they will go up to the Champions Cup. We'll try to next week win against the best 3 teams in the EUR. But one thing is for sure, we've got our 6 teams in the EURC. That is the 3 teams we have already seen, meaning CF Utopia, University of... I have gotten too many names wrong, and I will not try that again. UniPD Team A, Burnmasters, Ulu Arctic Gaming, and Fair Play Groningen. Our 6 teams in next season's EURC. Congratulations to all 3 again. Congratulations to Groningen for the entry in the championship, or a Champion Cup. I am thinking that probably I am going to cast that next week as well. I am hoping that I'm not alone at that point, because I'm thinking that Crafty is scheduled in, and I'm hoping for a yes right now. For a yes, Crafty is scheduled in for next week. I'm seeing that you're unmuted, Philip. All right, I've gotten a yes, so I'm not alone. I will not torture you alone. I will torture you together with Crafty. But for today, that's about it. Again, congratulations to the 3 teams, and especially to Groningen for getting into the Champions Cup. Again, next week, question to the production again. I'm thinking same time. Am I right with that? Probably. It's enough for me. Next week, same time. Be there, be here, or be square. Me with the 4 teams that have done it, that have entered the Champion Cup with Crafty together to cast it, hopefully. Till then, I'm wishing you a great week. There's no sense in telling you when the next UEG stream is, because you won't understand it. So till then, I'm wishing you a nice week, and we're going to see us again back on Saturday with the Champion Cup.
I'm on my own, broken alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care.